Welcome everybody to a later than anticipated episode 6 of Mark Out of 10, a wrestling podcast where we talk, argue and justify our top 10 lists of all things wrestling, where opinions mean everything and nothing at all. This week's episode we're delivering our own pipe bomb as we talk about the best people on the stick, microphone work that makes you happy, sad, angry or generally optimistic. It's a lost art but a very, very important part of the wrestling industry. I am one half of the mic-dropping pair in the world of wrestling podcast Shields, and my co-host, the man who when he works, it works, and when he shoots, he doesn't miss, the housewife's favourite heel, Hoxie. How we doing, Hoxie?
I love that. When he shoots, he doesn't miss. Yeah, boy, I'll take that any day of the week. I'm very good, mate. What are you saying?
Not bad,
mate.
How are you? Had a week off, but you know, I've still got it. It's all good. Yeah, I'm not too shabby, mate. Not too shabby.
You still got it.
You still got it. One more pod. It's been a good week this week, but it's my wedding anniversary on Friday, so this will go out on Sunday as per normal. But yeah, so I'm away Thursday, Friday through in Edinburgh with my lovely wife. So hence we're going to get shit done now. That's all good. What about you? What's been happening?
I'm good, mate. We'll obviously apologise. We couldn't get it out last week. Just busy with IRL stuff, the old jobs, real stuff, real life got in the way for the week, but it was good. I had a good week last week. Work-wise, it was good. The reason we couldn't do the podcast, I was working away doing a really big exhibition, and it was really good fun. It was very, very good. So yeah, it was all fun and games.
Good, glad to hear.
Yeah, I'm feeling very, very optimistic, and I'm really excited about doing the podcast because it feels like it's been a week, but it feels like I haven't done it for about 6 months. It's really strange. I've been like eager and chomping at the bit. We had a really quick chat, didn't we, just about the lists, and literally 5 minutes before I came on the conversation with you, I was still like fiddling with it and like a little bit torn and a bit like, oh my god, and I forgot somebody who was really important, so I had to like redo most of it, which is just crazy. So yeah, this stuff is ever changing. And I couldn't do this last week. Like if I wrote this list a week ago, I would definitely chop and change loads of it. Like I put like stuff down, like notes down on my. I usually do it on my phone. Like I'll do like the little note section on my phone, and I'll put like names on there, and I'll put numbers and this, that, and the other, and a couple of reasons. And then the next day I'll be like, nah, I'll change that. And then it's like, I'll change that. And then I literally couldn't do it. So it's not like a last minute Larry kind of thing. They're there, but they're just not necessarily bang on yet. But we're there, I think. Yeah, if you hear loads of like ripping and scribbling, it's just me being like, shit, change some stuff.
Well, that's the thing though, is like, as we say at every single list, every single week we say is like, it's our list could change like daily, hourly, minutely. You know, minutely's not a word, but that's fine. I can.
It is now.
It's not an issue. It is now. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to have the same people, but that's the same thing. But yeah, just to sort of circle back, we do apologise for missing a week to you guys that's listening. But as we said from the very beginning, Hoxie and myself, we both work full time. This is a bit of fun for us. It's something we would like to make a success of, obviously, and the fact that you guys are listening is a great thing. Just unfortunately our schedule just couldn't match up last week, but we are back with all our wrestling insights and knowledge, whether you like it or not, audience, whether you like it or not. But before we get started, we'll do the usual sort of social plugs. Thanks to everybody that has listened on Spotify and all our other podcast places. We're still continuing to grow. We're still seeing people listening on a daily basis, which is awesome. It's great to see that. Our YouTube channel is also slowly growing as well, which is amazing. The comments that we're getting are really cool as well. Do make sure you tweet us as well, Mark_out of 10, or you can email us at wrestlemark10@gmail.com as well. We want to hear your comments about what you've listened to. Obviously, give us your lists as well, or even suggestions about what lists we can come up with in the future. I've had a few Discord messages from our gaming community with certain ideas, so it's stuff that we've got a whole host of different subjects that we're going to talk about in the coming weeks and months. But yeah, just thank you to everybody that does listen. It is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I love it. I love getting the messages after the podcast goes live and people like saying stuff, and letting me know their thoughts, or I can't believe you said that, or that was a really funny story, or no fucking way have you got that person on your list, or whatever. It's so cool. I had a show. I had a show on Saturday night, so I was
Mhm.
wrestling on Saturday night, and two of the guys listened to the podcast. Big shout out Brody, big shout out Scotty. They were like, "Oh my god, is that famous podcaster over there? Should we go get his autograph?"
I can't
Taking the
wait to
piss,
come. I
but
cannot
it's so
wait to
funny.
come down to one of the shows like in the new year, and I'm going to definitely have a mark out of 10 like T-shirt or something, and just like advertise the fuck out of that at the
Definitely
show.
rep the merch, mate. We'll definitely rep the
100%.
merch. That'll be brilliant. Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, dude.
Yeah, I'm looking
Really
forward to this
looking
one as
forward
well.
to this. Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be good. It's
But
gonna be
before we get
fun.
into our list, we usually start with a bit of news in the wrestling world. But for the life of me, I can't think of anything that's happened in wrestling, Hoxie, that's
Bit quiet, isn't it?
worthy.
It's
It's
really
been
quiet.
really slow week. Can you think of anything?
I can think of something, maybe. Ah, mate. What a crazy week, right? What a
Hmm.
crazy, crazy week. Do you know what? Like, I'm happy that we're definitely doing it this week, because if we'd left it like another bit of time, it'd just be old news. Well, it wouldn't be old news, but it would be older news.
Yeah.
Dude,
So, audience,
what a
what we're
time to be
obviously talking
alive.
about is the return of our Truth at Survivor series.
Yes.
You know,
Biggest pop ever.
sorry, Triple H, I copied your press conference joke there. Apologies. But yeah, obviously it is the return of the one, the only Mr. CM Punk.
Oh, mate. We've discussed this before,
Mm-hmm.
about obviously the reasons why. It was part of our fumble, wasn't it?
Yep.
Was it the first episode? Second episode?
First, I
Jesus.
think. Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah. Um, dude, I'm like, by all accounts, it was quite a last minute thing as well. From what I've heard and what I've seen online in the old
10 days or
Twitterverse,
something, yeah.
it was like, apparently it still wasn't 100% locked in until the afternoon of the show. So it wasn't like a dead cert thing, apparently. I just love the fact, like, oh, the fact that he's back. It just makes my soul happy anyway. Like, he's one of my favorite ever wrestlers, and it's so good to see his face on a TV screen.
Yep.
Now he's done away with all the shit and all the crap and all the bullshit of the last couple of years. Obviously, we've had some amazing stuff with the
Mm-hmm.
AEW run, but he's away from all that now. He can actually be CM Punk in a big deal on a big show with really, really big stars around him.
Yep.
How exciting is that? You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah. It's so
I'm
good.
jacked, mate.
It,
I'm all jacked up in Mountain Dew. I can't wait, honestly.
it
It's
is
so
so
good.
good. What I will say, right, is before we go into the CM Punk, so usually we do the Royal Fumble guys in the middle of our list. I think it's been such a massive news story, and not just CM Punk, but there's other bits that's happened. We're not going to have a Royal Fumble this week, but we're going to split the news section into sort of two, essentially, right? Because there is a lot to sort of digest and talk about. What I want to start with, though, is, ironically, it's not about CM Punk. It's actually about Triple H, right? And there's two things I want to mention here. One, massive, massive kudos to him in terms of getting over himself and making it happen. You know,
Yep.
the whole thing. You know, the gimmick that the Authority did in WWE was what's best for business. Triple H is not stupid, right? He's a very intelligent man. He does love the business, right? He loves the wrestling business, and he identified the fact that one, London, an AEW event in London was insane, and it was down to CM Punk competing there, right? It was one of the reasons why it was so
Yes.
successful, right?
Yep.
CM Punk is talked about consistently since he got fired from AEW, and he's a trendsetter, right? He is someone that will put bums in seats. He'll be someone that, you know, WWE's massive on their social media thing, right? So
Did you see the stats for that, by the way?
yeah,
Did you
I
see
mean,
the
what was
stats?
it? Let's have a quick shifty just now. I sent it to you, didn't I? But you were going to send it to me at the same time. Let's just get this out. This is flawless here, chat. So within 24 hours, and under 24 hours across all WWE social media platforms and clips uploaded, CM Punk's return at Survivor Series 2023 last night, so obviously the night it was 87,200,000 views. That's insane for one man's return. He is
24 hours.
In under
not
24
even a full
hours.
day.
It's incredible. He is, and I might get shot down here, he is the equivalent of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin in terms of impact, in terms of like people talking. He is the equivalent of a Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era, or a Hulk Hogan in like the golden era, essentially. Yeah, that is the sort, in my opinion, that's the sort of impact that Punk is having just now on the wrestling business. Yeah,
he's the Rock, isn't he? He's Stone
yeah.
Cold. He's Hulk. He's whoever you want to fucking put him up there with.
Yep. So that's one thing. Massive kudos to Triple H in terms of getting over himself and identifying that, and making the tough call. It would be tough because Punk didn't miss him, in the Colt Cabana podcast. Yeah, he didn't miss him at all. He went through him, nailed him to the ground. But the second thing about Triple H is this has been really refreshing, because if you had looked at Twitter, obviously you said there at the beginning that it was touch and go up until like 10 days or even to the day of the thing. But if you looked on all the wrestling Twitters or the wrestling like dirt sheets, etc., they were convinced it was not happening. So basically, Triple H has managed, since he's taken control of creative, they've managed to short any form of leak. And I think that's down to just the fact that it's a much happier place for them to work. People aren't pissed off. People don't want to make an easy buck. I think massive congratulations to Triple H in terms of keeping the ship nice and tight and allowing the wrestling fans to get that genuine pop. And I'll do a third thing here. Did you see the copyright thing in Survivor Series? So when,
yes.
Again, it's just little things like that. So for those that don't know in the wrestling business, at the end of at the end of the shows, basically it's going to end because the copyright sign comes up at the bottom left hand corner of your program, so the screen that you're watching, and that came up before Punk's music hit. So everybody was under the impression, oh shit, he's not going to appear. All right, okay, fair enough.
This is it.
And then bang, it hits, and the pop was insane, absolutely insane.
One of the biggest, loudest pops in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think that can be sort of argued against, really. What I am trying to do now, I thought about it. I need to find out what the attendance was. Survivor Series. Let's have a quick Google. You keep going, mate. You keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't remember. In fact, there's probably a handful of times where the crowd actually exceeds the level of music of an entrance. So the one I'm thinking about is Triple H actually returning from his quad injury at Madison Square Gardens, if you remember that. That pop was insane. You've had, obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin numerous times. You've got Hulk Hogan numerous times. That's the level we're talking about here with CM Punk. Absolutely incredible.
It was 17,138 people.
That's crazy.
So that was like, obviously that's a big attendance. It's a big arena, but holy shit, like that was like WrestleMania level noise. It was insane. I found the video. I was watching it on Sunday morning when I was hanging out of my ass. By the way, I'll say that it was, and I was just like, I must have I think like my missus Kelly, she must have got wound up with me watching it so many times. I was just lying there, just like on repeat, just going back to the moment when the music hits, and just because he gets two pops, he gets the pop for the music, and then when he walks out through the curtain, it just goes up again, because it's like that's his music, okay, like, and then it's like, oh my god, he is actually here, and he looks good, man. He looks healthy.
He looks happy.
You look at a photograph of him long before he left, and he's de-aged about 10 years. He left fucking AEW, and it's nuts, man. It's nuts. He looks really good. And so we talk about reactions. I don't know if you were going to ask this question, but we'll sort of lay this up. With Rollins, like, losing his mind, telling him to get the fuck out of here and fuck off, and like being held back by the other wrestlers and by security and stuff. And have you seen the reaction that
I saw it,
Michael Cole did? Like the Michael Cole reaction when his music hit.
Yep.
He launched his phone or whatever it is across the table, like pissed off. But
the thing is, was that the up close one of Michael Cole? because I think there's been 2 videos. I saw one on TikTok earlier on today where it's one of the sort of, we'll call it the hard angle for commentary, where you can see the sort of diagonal.
Like looking up at the commentators.
So they're both standing up, and Michael Cole's actually doing like a hand gesture, like he was expecting it. So I don't believe that, because again, it's all been reported that no one knew that he was coming back, right? I don't believe that for a second. I think that's a Vince McMahon type thing of doing that. I don't think Triple H is smarter than that. He
wouldn't tell Cole. So that I would imagine. So I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off anyway. The mentality of very, very good commentators are, and I'm not saying Michael Gold is very good. He's just, he learned from lots of people who were very good, and he's the best we've got now.
Yep.
People like Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler and just whoever, like, you mean the bigger guys, Gordon Soley's of the world, the fucking whoever, like, when Paul Heyman was on commentary, all these bigger guys, they didn't want to know the results of the match. They didn't want to know the angles. They didn't want to know the surprises and all that sort of stuff. So their reactions were genuine. And Michael Cole wasn't on commentary at the time at all.
Yeah, there was no talking.
Whether like Triple H gave him the Iggy, because apparently the last couple of minutes of the show, Triple H took over the headset backstage and like took over the direction of the show as well. They took over like what cameras and things to do. So I wouldn't imagine Cole found out. I would be really surprised if he did. I'd be really surprised if he did, but I haven't seen that clip, so you might need to find that out and send it across to me. But genuinely, like it would be really surprising if that was the case.
What do you think about Rollins' reaction though? Do you think that was legit, or do you think it is a work?
Probably a bit of both. Either way, I don't care. I think it's fucking brilliant. For him to be swearing on a live event while the pay-per-view is still ongoing is amazing. Whichever way you look at it, whether it's a work or a shoot, I don't care. It shows a different sort of, if it is a work, that shows a really good direction and making it real, which is what I want to see. If it's a shoot, then personal issues draw money, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll make some money. They'll make some money. They're both professional enough not to go in there and hurt each other. It's not as if he's going in against a Page who's going to go into business for himself or some little prick. Rollins is very good. He knows exactly where his bread's buttered. He knows exactly what he's doing. And Punk is exactly the same. They can go in there, make all the money they want to make, and just ride off into the sunset. And either way they go, it's fucking brilliant. I honestly, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. I literally can't wait. I haven't had Raw or SmackDown like TiVo'd on my box for probably about 3 years.
Yep.
And I, like, when I made it out of bed and entered real life on Sunday, I put Raw on as a series link, and it felt odd. And I watched the promo yesterday, so I got back from work and put the promo on because I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
That much so, I had my little 18-month-old boy running around, 18-month-old boy running around chanting CM Punk, which was just amazing. The best thing ever.
That's so.
But
good.
It's like, it's just amazing. Have you seen the ratings from Raw? Have you seen this?
It's, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like today. Well, I think it's more Survivor Series, so I don't know. No, Raw, I don't.
Okay, so they've had a 1,884,000 viewers and an 18 to 49, so like the key demographic of a 0.65, so it's about 650,000 people. That's a 400,000 increase from the last few months. It's crazy. They've barely sort of made it over 1.5 million, like barely, since probably halfway through August, maybe.
Wow. So
obviously they've had another return, but it's the key demographic, mate. It's gone from a 0.5, or just under a 0.5, to obviously a 0.6, 0.65 or whatever it is. What was it? I've just said 0.65.
Yeah, 0.65.
So they've had like a 15, 16 point key demographic jump in that 400,000, which is huge.
Massive.
So yeah, and one of them was me. So there you go.
That tells you everything.
But it's just like I want to see him on my television screen. It's that simple. Like for him to go away for 7 years. It's probably like the best thing he did. Like you don't know what it's got, like what you've got until it's gone. Like you need to go away and learn new holds. You need to be missed. Like you know, what I mean, people need to miss you or whatever. He just went away. He didn't need it. He just went away and done what he needed to do. He's had two of the greatest comebacks in wrestling history ever.
Yep, I would
within
agree.
within what 3 years, 2 years,
Yep.
2 years.
Again, it shows the impact he
mate.
has. Sorry to cut you off. This is more the
No,
Survivor
go on.
Series side of it. Just
Okay.
the mere rumor of appearing, and I mean, obviously it was in Chicago. I mean, it was always going to be a success if like he either was a revealed to appear or was rumored to appear. But apparently, WB announced that that particular event broke records for viewership, for gate, and merchandise sales. It saw a 44% increase in viewership compared to last year. And I legitimately think, obviously there were returns, which we'll talk about in the middle section, but that's down. It's got to be down to the pure possibility.
He done it with Rampage.
Yeah.
He sold out Rampage in like what was it, 20 minutes with on a rumor, on a prayer that he would be there.
Yep.
Like that. This everybody needs to stop being a dickhead on the internet and start to wake up and realize how much of a big deal CM Punk was, has always been, and is. Like everyone needs to start fucking waking up and smelling the coffee with it, because he's the guy, man. He is the guy. If you look at it from facts, you can look at it from facts. If you look at it from work, you can look at it from work. Whichever way you want to look at this shit. If you want to look at it from promos, which we're going to discuss like shortly, you know, like this guy, he is the conversation as one of the goats of wrestling. He really has to be, and I think everyone needs to just start realizing that. Just because he's not fucking 6'4" and 250 and whatever, or he can do a fucking double indie Vernon Schnavitz 450 fucking whatever. Like the guy is money, and we talk about Raw. What was the last thing he said? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
And he'll make a shed load of money.
And he'll make a shitload. Did you see the little lap or half attempted lap of honor that he did around the ring?
I did,
At
yeah.
the end of the promo,
it's so good.
as it was going to black.
That's a middle finger to a certain Buccarinos.
I done the Leonardo DiCaprio Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing. Look at that! Wait. Done the GIF. So it's amazing.
Okay.
He's so good.
He's so good. So the question I've got for you then, right, is we've talked about he's going to make money. It's people need to put a bit of respect on the name of CM Punk. How is Tony Khan feeling? I mean,
I hope he's feeling sicker than a fucking. I hope he's feeling as rough as I was on Sunday morning. That's how rough I hope he was feeling. The guy's a knob. Like I had so much faith and like belief in this guy and the noises he was making and the stuff that he could do. He's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot. I sent you that thing, didn't I? He got, was it BBC West Midlands? Hold on, I'll find it. Okay, here it is. Tony Khan was asked about CM Punk returning to WWE. Can't talk about that, nor do I think it's the time or the place. But I appreciate you asking, and I'm very excited about AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. Not to dodge or duck your question, it's something I just can't legally talk about. And then you had like fucking Triple H getting asked about it at the presser after Survivor Series, and he was just the most like coherent and like beautifully spoken man about this whole situation. Really level-headed, non-inflammatory, just cracked on and just said what needed to be said in a way that everybody could understand. And he just wiped the floor with him. Tony Khan didn't realize what was happening then the first time. So the you know, when they all burst into his fucking room and tried to kick his head in, and he definitely didn't get it with the Jack Perry incident at Wembley. So he's not going to get it. He probably doesn't really fully understand what was going on now.
Yep.
I mean, he probably is just like probably floating around in a mist of whatever chemicals that are raided him through his day, allegedly. It's just one of those things. Like the guy he clearly doesn't get it. You've had QT Marshall who's been there since day one with AEW, and he's come out. He's resigned. He's come out and said that the company's going in a direction which I don't believe in. Like it's all about matchmaking and not storyline, like story driven, like feuds and things. And you can see that whether they need a booker, they need somebody who knows what they're doing. They need someone who can run the business well and knows how to work with wrestlers and isn't trying to be everybody's friend. And they need a booker to be able to book these long feuds and book these things what people want to get invested in, because it's only going one way, and it's sad. I was you know me, and a few of the guys who listen to this will know me. I was such a am whatever a huge AEW fan.
Yep.
I was so excited to like see cheers and see these guys and see this alternative programming, because WWE has been awful. I haven't watched it for so long. I watched the odd pay-per-view or the odd match someone tells me it's amazing, and I never miss Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. But like I can't watch any of the weekly shows. Like I probably still won't watch the weekly shows now unless something really good happens. I'll watch the CM Punk segments, but whatever. But I was so excited to have these guys on my television and these newer people. I never missed a Dynamite. I haven't watched the Dynamite since probably a week after Wembley. That was August.
Yeah.
It is for me. It's literally turning into like 2001 WCW.
Yep.
And
We
it's
had that conversation,
really,
right?
really sad. Yeah, it's really sad. Oh, mate.
I just think it's ironic. The biggest return in wrestling happened on the same night of Collision, which was his show. It was CM Punk's show. That's why they created it, to give him sort of creative control of that entire program. And it's just
there's information on the Collision thingies, the Collision ratings, and it's just going down and down and down. Percentage wise over Collisions from the start of the year, I think it's down about 25%. I think it was.
Jeez.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah, I think they started at like, obviously they started about 800,000 or whatever, and they were averaging about 800,000, 700,000, 800,000. Since Punk, I think the last one was 340,000 or 314,000 was the last Collision. So,
but again, the debut episode of Collision, right? That was the one where obviously Punk came back after the second time.
Probably when I'm telling lies.
And it was an alternative to what was offered. So it was an opportunity for AEW to get away from their... Now, they've got a core base of fans that love what they do, right? And that's absolutely fine. But in order for you to get the lapsed fan, or in order for you, we've talked about this before, in order for you to grow as a business, in the business of wrestling, you need to have something that people can latch onto. I mean, you'll have people our age, slightly older, that will remember the Stone Cold Steve Austins, that will remember even the Hulk Hogan's back in the day, and they still want that. They want the flamboyant like storylines and stuff like that. But for me, Dynamite doesn't do that. It's all about who can get in their shit. It's like it's a set arranged moves. You could copy and paste a Young Bucks tag team match. I've said this before when we did the tag overrated. You can copy and paste any one of their matches and put it in anywhere, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference because it's exactly the same match every single time.
They're getting found out now. They're having to take a bit of time off because nobody wants
cares.
to see them anymore. They're a turn off. The ratings indicate that when they're on the show, when they're on the screen, people turn away. The biggest loss of ratings and on Dynamite is Young Bucks and the women's matches. And also Kenny is in there as well, which is really bad. So
if he's your star,
it's not good.
It's not good at all.
It's not good.
I mean, we will talk more about CM Punk and Survivor Series and even the aftermath of it and like what's next in terms of superstars moving, because we're getting to the stage now where contracts will be up. I think MJF has signed with AEW. I think the bidding war for 2024 won't happen. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
There.
But we'll do a comparison.
It's a mistake. I'll be honest with you. It's a big mistake. Huge mistake for him.
Oh, but we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. But yeah, so
I've
do that.
I've been wrong before, mate. In 1997, I was wrong once. So I've been wrong before. We'll see.
We shall see. But we'll pick this up again later on in the show. Yeah, we'll call it a show. Why not? Because it is a show. It's a performance from me and Hoxie. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a shoot from me, mate. There's no performing here. I'm me. God damn it.
It's still really me, damn it. Okay. Right. So let's get started with episode 6. Like I say, it is the best mic workers in wrestling. The top 10, in our opinion, because opinions matter, and they mean nothing at all at the same time. So yeah, we're going to talk about the different people that we think are the best promo or the best mic worker in wrestling history. Whether they make you happy, sad, angry, or they just make you feel something. That's the sort of criteria I went down for the list. So, Hoxie, do you want to start us with our number 10?
I started last time, so you can start this time.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, there you go.
First.
Memory.
Yeah. Age before beauty, mate.
Okay, my number 10 is the master of the DDT, Jake the Snake Roberts. Okay, in terms of promo, okay, we're not talking about a person. Okay, we know Jake the Snake. Okay, let's just clarify that just now. Okay, and I mean it's my list. It's my list. Damn it. So yeah, Jake the Snake for me growing up was the guy that made you crap yourself. There's something about whenever someone is that sort of intense, but like they have that sort of religious aspect to them as well, it's creepy as fuck. And it still creeps you out to this day, okay? So yeah, for me, Jake the Snake, in terms of promo work, in terms of psychology, I think he's got to go down as one of the better ones in the business. There's two promos that he cut that always come to mind. It's an old one and a more recent one. The old one is WrestleMania 6 when he was going up against Ted DiBiase for the $1 Million Belt. And it was just intensity personified. You don't need to shout or rant and rave. It's the sort of the tonal register that he had. He maintained it all the way through, and from start to finish, he had you. It's like he had you in the palm of his hand. It's like the if we're going snake wise, it's like the Jungle Book. The snake in Jungle Book. You just look in his eyes and he sort of hypnotizes you a little bit. And Jake the Snake's words were like that. So that was the old school one. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's just pure intensity. And then the more recent one was actually in AEW when he debuted in AEW and he came out with Cody. And I think it just shows how he has the audience in the palm of the hand. Because if you watch that promo, and I watched it again recently just to double check my recollection, and there was a bit where he actually looked like he forgot what he was going to say next, but the audience was like silent. And for that sort of audience, the AEW, which is quite an indie audience, right, to keep them silent,
a smart audience,
he had them in the palm of his hands. And that there was, what was the bit? It was the bit near the end. It was the end of the promo. It was like, a wise man once told me, like, you never turn your back on someone you respect or your fear. And then he turned his back on Cody through the microphone and just walked out. And it was like, holy shitballs. It's like, it's that sort of just genius psychology and just the way he like articulates himself. It's, for me, he scared the crap out of me as a child. He certainly has his flaws. As a person, he might be the biggest piece of crap known to man. But in terms of psychology and wrestling, I don't think you can go much past Jake the Snake. I think he was awesome in terms of psychology and on the mic.
Yep, I can't disagree. He always used to say, like, when if you go out there ranting and raving and stuff, it's like, oh my god, what the hell? If you speak really quiet, You draw people in. People are like, "What's he saying?" And it makes them listen. If you're watching at home, if you're in the room, what's he saying? And it makes you listen to what he's saying, and it takes it all in. He had the thing with the DDT, like short ride, bad landing. I used to love that. I think that's such a cool like way of describing it. Like that was his little thing for it when it's like a short bad landing. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, he was one of the shortlisted for me. He didn't make it on my list, mate, but he's up there definitely.
Trust
Definitely.
me. That's how he always used to end them as well. Is it?
Trust me.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I think it was the gravel of his voice as well that just.
Yeah.
And again, sorry, I'm just going to go on just for a little bit longer.
Go on, mate. You go on. You crack on.
He looked. Obviously, he looked hard as nails, but he looked like your average Joe sort of like American guy, ironically, in a bar fight type guy. You know, he wasn't like your total like roided up fuckwit. He was like a guy that, you know, would glass you
over the back of your head or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a Glaswegian come at you there, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's just like, for me, he's. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves, which is a shame, you know, because of all these issues and because of like he's stuff like that. But I think the mind he had for the business, I'm glad DDP saved him. You know, I think it would have been a massive loss to the industry. I think AEW could benefit from a Jake the Snake, you know, in terms of if they actually listened to what he was saying in terms of psychology, you know, because he's been there, he's done it. He didn't win the big one, but he was so good.
He didn't need to, did he?
Didn't need to.
It was one of those things.
It's like Mr. Perfect. Didn't need to.
Yep.
So yeah,
it
my
would
number
be nice
10
for them to have, but they didn't. Yeah.
My number 10, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Cool. No arguments there, mate. No arguments there at all.
Over to you, Mr. Hawks.
So my number 10 is Chris Jericho. He is the master of reinvention himself. When you look at sort of over the years, we've had discussion about Jericho before, and I've sort of laid my sort of stall out about Jericho. Like, he was my favorite of all time, and I think the last couple of years has really tainted it for me. So he's probably sort of dropped down the list of maybe one or two places. But the guy is on the mic. There isn't very many people when he's on it and he's involved and he's serious and stuff. There's nobody better. And you look at all the characters and all the heel and the faces and like the personas that he's had. I hate using the term persona, but it's the easiest way to explain it. The personas that he's had over the years, like you look at some of those amazing moments and those amazing promos. I mean, you go back, which is probably his most famous, really, the Man of 1,004 Holds. That promo against Dean Malenko back in WCW, like that's when you look at moments in WCW history overall. That always gets brought into that conversation, and it was funny. But when he got in the ring with Malenko and when he got involved, it was serious, and that's what I really liked about Jericho when he was like the mad Jericho. He was joking, he was taking the piss, but it wasn't like hokey, it wasn't corny. It was almost like smart ass, and I'm trying to wind you up, and it would work. You know what I mean? Like the whole like. The list and getting the massive list of paper out and it folding on the floor like fucking 100 times, and his armbar, the Saskatchewan fucking whatever it was, like screwball armbar, like it's just amazing. And the one when he started wearing the suit in that sort of like late 2000 period of time, mid 2000 period of time, when he wore the suit and came out with like the shorter hair, and he would talk really slow, like this.
Are you listening to what I'm saying to you right now?
Right now, yeah. The one where he had the feud with Michaels, and he smashed Michaels' head through the telly and just beat the fuck out of him. It's like when he turned heel on him.
Yep.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
It was like the
highlight.
Whatever it was, like, I'm the best. Yeah. He was like, he turned on Michaels there and then smashed his face through and they're just off to the races. Like, he's had some amazing heels, like the list of Jericho, like that's a gimmick, but it was all to do with a promo, like the click of the pen and stuff. Like for him to think about stuff like this, it's just amazing stuff. Some of the promos he's done in AEW when he's been on it have been amazing. His debut when he come to WWE in '99, like that's probably my all time favorite like debut with a wrestler. Like the countdown, and he comes out and has that promo with The Rock. Like that's a big deal.
Yep.
Like welcome to Raw is Jericho. Like just all that sort of stuff. He had to make it on my list when he. Like, so we'll have the GOAT conversation, or people have the GOAT conversation. He has to come into it. He has to come into that conversation, and yeah, he's one of the best on the mic. Definitely, definitely.
Absolutely no argument from me there. I totally agree with you.
Yep.
He's actually my number 9, so I won't say much.
There we go.
So there you go. Cool. Yeah, Chris Jericho. He was what before this we started recording. I said there were like 6 or 7 that were a lock on the list, and Jericho was one of them.
Yeah.
Just he had to be, right. He just had to be.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
Great
and
start.
If you can argue, you're wrong, motherfucker.
Remember, opinions mean everything and nothing at the same time, but if you don't have the same opinion as me and Hoxie, you're wrong. Okay, moving on, Hoxie, to your number 9.
My number 9 is he was one that wasn't going to make it on the list, but the more and more I thought about it, and the more and more I was messing around with it, like I had to get him on. It's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. I was gonna put him as my honorable mention, but the more and more I thought about it, I was like, he needs to get on here. He needs to make it on my list. Like he is. There's people on some of the lists that we've done that I've left off because they've been like newer wrestlers or younger wrestlers, or they haven't been around as much or whatever. And I was thinking about that with this guy, and I was like, do you know what? No, because he's just the fucking man, isn't he? You know what I mean? Right now, there is nobody that can touch him and hasn't been able to touch him for a long time. He's just, you give him it, he's the best at blurring the lines with all of this, with everything. It's him. It really is him. Like the kayfabe thing to him almost is he's probably 95% kayfabe, which is just, he does it on when he's on Twitter. He does it if he's on, like, you see videos of him when he's meeting fans in airports and stuff. Like he'll do it, but he'll do it in character. Like he'll give you an autograph, but he'll take the piss out of you while he's doing it. Like he is the man. And some of the promos, you give him a mic and just let him run wild, and nothing's off limits. He's clever. He's funny. He draws the money. So there's a really famous thing Dusty Rhodes used to say to, like, even the WWE guys when he was in charge of NXT. He would say, "Where's the money, baby?" Like you can say whatever you want on the mic. If you ain't selling anything, you ain't selling shit. Like you need to make money. That's the whole point of a promo, is to make people buy into what you're doing. He'll make money all day long. He says stuff that's inflammatory. He says stuff that gets other people riled up. He says stuff that confuses other people. You can see them struggling when they're trying to retort to what he's saying. Like the guy is incredible. His voice, his volume. Sometimes he doesn't need a fucking mic. You know what I mean? He's just amazing. The promo stuff, like the shit that he was doing with Cody, like sort of 2019 time. The stuff obviously with Punk. Like, fuck me, come on, guys. You know
Best
what I mean?
Thing AEW's done.
Just without a shadow of a doubt. The bit where the photograph promo we did with Punk, just you're used to him coming out and taking it, and he showed so many different levels of like emotion and hate and pain and anger and like anguish and everything. It wasn't like he wasn't acting. It was like, holy shit, like it's real. It's real. Like it isn't. We know it isn't. But fuck me, right now, this is real. Right now, like what I'm watching. The fucking state of address thing he did when he was just reading through people. That it was the feud against MJF, wasn't it? Feud against Moxley. Just absolutely wiping the floor with everybody and everything, and just
star,
incredible.
just
He's just money. Honestly, he's money. the more and more I'm thinking about it now, I'm a bit annoyed he isn't a bit further up the list. But there's lots of other people to go through yet. But
if I'm honest,
he had to make it on.
I'm surprised he's lower down on your list. I'm shocked at that. I mean, I get the impression I know who's going to be on your list because of conversations we've had in the past. So I get it. It's just okay, cool. I agree with you. He's a star.
So he like I said at the start, I was sort of in two minds when I was putting him on because he's only been around a few years, blah blah blah. Like Rhea Ripley didn't make it onto my women's one because she isn't there yet. If you know what I mean. But like, I had to get him on. Love it. He's him and Punk are like the best things in wrestling right now for me.
I would agree.
So good, so good. So yeah, MJF number 9.
Good, solid start from Hoxie there. Okay, my number 9, I've already mentioned it, is Jericho. Jericho had to be on the list somewhere. If you look at his work, like you say, the man of 1,004 holds. There is actually a website that lists all 1,004 holds as well.
Amazing!
It's so good. I'll forward the link on to you later. I might put it on our Twitter as well.
Stick it on the Twitter.
It's like number 1 arm drag, number 2 arm bar, number 4 arm bar, number 8 arm bar, and then it goes all the way down to like 1,004 arm bar. It's so fucking good, man. I just love Jericho. Then you obviously went into his the work in WWE, and like you say, one of the best, if not the best, debut of a superstar in any company, in my opinion. And then you had these different iterations of Y2J. You know, you had him as the sort of cocky heel, and then it was the uber over babyface, and you know, up until now, you've got Y2J or Chris Jericho in AEW, and his mic work is the strongest part of his game right now in AEW. You know, and it helps because, unfortunately, he is getting on. His in-ring talent is there, but it's not as good as it used to be. It's sort of mediocre, you could call it. You know, which is really harsh to say, but I think if you compare it to his previous work, it's just not as good. But his mic work is still the strongest. He can still sell. You know, in terms of he can sell anything. Like you say, where's the money? He can sell that. You know, he can sell anything, any sort of feud that he's in. As I say, you had these.
He's also like. If you watch him say if he's in with like some of the Pinnacle guys or the JS or whatever, when he's in there with other people, he's like directing them as well, which is so he's not only in control of himself. It's like
everybody's directing traffic.
Or give him a signal, or it's just have that much mental awareness to know when to do it and what to do it. It's just brilliant. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. Yeah. I mean, there's a bit with like there was a feud obviously with CM Punk and Raw, and you know it's there's a bit of it. He goes, he's part of a dying breed where they were given absolutely nothing but took absolutely everything. You know, and that's absolutely true. I don't think you can put it any better than that. You know, his heel work or his face work on the mic is just so good. You know, again, heel part with Punk. Again, if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. His face work, you know, if he's taking the piss out of Stephanie McMahon, you know, whole beast, you know, when he's talking about her and Rhino, it's, you know, absolutely agree with you 100%. One of the greatest of all time. I think he's definitely in the conversation. If you look at all facets of the wrestling industry, he would need to be in discussion for like the Mount Rushmore type thing as well. Yeah, so he had to be on my list. Again, as I think I said at the beginning, it's a case of this, for me, was ordering that I found really, really difficult. He could be much higher, and again, tomorrow, if you ask me, he probably could be a lot higher. But yeah, Chris Jericho's my number 9.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Excuse me.
There we go.
Okay, speaking about ordering, and again, this one might surprise how low he is. It's actually the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Okay. And the reason, we've talked about it before, Ric Flair is 1A of the greatest of all time, and his mic work is a major proponent of that. I think what has sort of sullied me to Ric Flair to make him number 8 on mic work is just his recent, you know, not his recent stuff, but sort of post TNA really, because the stuff he did with Jay Lethal was quite funny and stuff like that. He was solid that way, but it's just, I don't know, it's sort of, he's missed the opportunity to go away gracefully again. But if you think about someone like you said with MJF, it's him. He lived that gimmick, and what he was the Nature Boy. You know, he was that kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. And on the mic, it was just golden. He was the mouthpiece of the Four Horsemen, and the Four Horsemen could talk. You know, it wasn't a case of they needed this one major mouthpiece, but all four of them could do the job, depending on what iteration you're talking about. But yeah, it's again, Ric Flair, similar to Jericho, had to be on the list somewhere. One of my favourites of all time. But yeah, I think it's just that there's people on there that on the list further up that sort of make me feel something a little bit more, if that makes sense. Which it is, but yeah, I couldn't leave Flair out. I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to... I know.
Number 8.
Yep, number 8.
I don't really know what to say here, Shields, if I'm honest with you.
I think what you've got to remember, though, right, is we didn't see him in his prime. Or I certainly didn't see him in his prime in terms of his mic work and stuff. We're talking like when he was in NWA, when he was like sort of early WCW. That's Ric Flair in his prime. We saw Ric Flair reaching the sort of on the downward slope. And obviously, I've watched Ric Flair's promos in the past, and you know they are incredible. You know, some of the feuds he had and the mic work he had for the feuds was incredible. But yeah, for me, he had to be on the list, and again, it's an ordering thing. And you could ask me again, I say this every time, you could ask me tomorrow, and he'd be much, much higher. But yeah, for me, right here, right now, he's number 8.
Jesus. Okay. It's fine. It's fine, John. Yeah, you do you, hon. You do you. I am absolutely fucking gobsmacked that he is only at number 8. Wow. Okay. Cool. Okay. It's fine.
And this is the last episode of Mark Out of Tennis. Hoxie doesn't want to do it again.
We'll talk about Ric Flair a little bit later on.
I fully expected that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right, what is it? Me or is it you?
Me? You.
Me. Number 7. Yes.
Number
7.
8. No, yeah,
number 8. Yeah, number 8. Shit, sorry. Number 8 for me is Vince McMahon.
Oh, okay.
So when we think about wrestling history, and this is what we're doing, we are going down the annals of time right now. The annals of time is the route that we're going down with these lists, unless it's like the best wrestlers in the world right now. You know what I mean? Like when you look at this guy, and I wrote down on a piece of paper, and I've put no pun. I've written down this. He's just an absolute boss. Like you look at the promos that he did throughout his life, throughout his career. Like you've got the ruthless aggression thing, the whole Attitude Era promo that he did when he was sort of, we're going to go down another a route of attitude, and like introducing these amazing moments, knowing exactly what to say and when to say it. Fucking all the shit he did with Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to grab your competition by the throat. You know what I mean? The fucking buy in WCW. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Like, you've got the easy way or the hard way stuff with fucking Stone Cold. You've got all the shit that he did, like the backstage skits that he used to do, the funny stuff, the fucking like. There's a bit, and I can never remember what it is. I think he sat down doing an interview with Stephanie, and like one of the security guys is like, "Oh, he's here." And he's like, "What?" And he like jumps in, "We tell him," and they're like running down the fucking corridor, just like all this incredible stuff, like all these amazing promos, and then you've got what I probably consider myself is the birth of the rest of the WWF sort of life in the start of the Attitude Era is the Brett promo, which is where Vince McMahon turned into Mr. McMahon on that promo, and that is the catalyst. That's the genesis moment of why wrestling and the WWF, WWE is as big as it is right now, was that moment, that Raw in November of '97 or whatever it was, because it was obviously after the screw job. Like that was, he's there with a bruise on his eye, like a black eye, having this conversation, this promo as Mr. McMahon. He has to be on this list. He's just the guy. Like he's amazing, absolute beast, and memorable moments, memorable promos. Like it was all in his head.
Yeah,
he knew how to say it. Like you're fired. Like how many times have you fucking said that to somebody, or wanted to say that to somebody, or heard other people say it in like a joking way? Like this guy's
transcend wrestling a little bit, right?
Yeah, this guy's stuff is here. Like it's in the zeitgeist, isn't it? Like he's a big deal, man. He's a big deal, and he's just a great promo as well. When he's in there with anybody that's ever been.
Yeah.
He knows what to do. He knows when to be funny. He knows when to be smart. He knows when to be serious. He just, excuse me, just blurring the lines of stuff as well. The guy was incredible.
He's not. Yeah, he's not on my list, but he was on like sort of the wider list, and I think he was like the last one or two to get removed, which is unfortunate. There's two promos that always come to mind for me with Vince, and there's moments obviously like the "You're fired," it was me all along, Austin. Those two, like those great moments, but the two sort of promos that always come to mind for me, and I'll always go back and watch them on like YouTube or whatever, is when he brings the NWO in. He's doing the black and it was on SmackDown, I think it was, and he's doing the sort of backstage promos, and it's split over the SmackDown. It wasn't just one whole promo. And I'm going to inject it with a lethal dose of poison. I'll kill it. Me and the NW. That there, it's a goosebump type thing. And the other one is, when he brings back The Rock during the invasion angle. It's like I think Stone Cold had already went over, and The Rock was obviously in Hollywood, but he was like storyline, he was suspended, and he goes through like all The Rock's like different things. It's like, tell me, Rock, can you still bring it? Can you still layeth the SmackDown? And he goes through all of it, and then at the end he goes, come back, Rock, because what we want to do is smell what The Rock is cooking. Again, if you haven't seen that promo, it will. If it doesn't give you goosebumps, you're not a wrestling fan.
Dude, will you make a fucking note to like send me that? Because I probably have seen it, but probably then. Or you know what I mean? Like I probably haven't. I don't really know what you're talking about. If I see it, and I might recognize it, but I need to see that. I need to watch that.
Yeah, so I'll send that to you just now. So it's one of the best thing ever, and it does get you. And then, again, this is just another segue into it. It's a case of like once that happens, the next Monday Night Raw is actually, and I'll always remember it's in Philadelphia, and you're waiting for like The Rock to turn up because he needs to make a decision whether he's going to go back to the WWF at the time or if he's going to go over to the Alliance. And Shane and Steph and Paul Heyman are at one side trying to like, try and fight for The Rock, and you see like cars pulling up, and someone like comes out. I can't remember who comes out the limo, but everybody was expecting The Rock, and it's not him. And then like before the last sort of segment of Monday Night Raw, it goes to commercial, and it's like the Rocky Balboa statue, and then it pans wider, and then you see The Rock, his usual profile, just looking up. And then he stares at the camera, and then he walks off, and then it goes into break, and then it comes back, and then his music pops, and it's just, honest to God, it's just, Vince McMahon, I totally agree with you. He probably should be on my list, but yeah, he's fucking different class as well. So yeah, sorry, that's a bit of a segue there.
Shit.
Good shit.
It's like this is the thing. It's like, oh, like I forgot about it, or I've never seen it, or you need to go out your way. Like this is what we want. Like some of the people out there who listen to this, if they're younger or if they're older or whatever, they might not have seen this sort of stuff. So it's cool, man. Like I can't even fucking remember it, so I'll definitely
2001.
Watch it.
So that just shows you. I mean, what's that? It's 22 years ago.
22 years ago, and
right?
I can still remember it,
and it's still in my head, and I can always remember the follow-up at Raws as well. So that's what we're talking about. It's about how does it make you feel, what the impact is there. Anyway, moving on, or we'll be here talking about Vinnie Mac all night long. All night. So you're number 7, Mr. Hawks.
My number 7 is CM Punk.
Okay.
Now, he's not higher up my list because obviously I will explain a little bit more as we go through the people who are higher up my list. But he's just I've spent half an hour of the episode or whatever putting him over about how fucking amazing he is. But there's other guys who have maybe done a little bit more in their time and stuff that I can sort of not relate to, but like get behind a little bit more. But CM Punk's my number 7. You give him a mic with anybody, and he's gold. Listening back to like some of his stuff that he's done recently with his returns and his returns from issues and stuff, like the "stop me when I'm telling lies" thing. Like I use that myself, like day to day, like jokingly, but like as a shoot at the same time. like I just think it's such an amazing
fucking mark.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck, mate. We're all marks. Fuck it. That's why we're here. I just think he's just amazing. Like obviously you can relate back to lots and lots of different things. The promo we cut, I can remember watching it. I can remember where I was. I can remember like who I was with. I can remember what the weather was like. I can remember like the lighting and stuff. Like I was upstairs in my room with Kelly. I can remember what T-shirt I was wearing, like when he done the return on Rampage, and just I was watching it with a tear in my eye, like just absolutely just engrossed by him and everything that he said. You look at the MJF stuff he's done, like I said, the "Stop Me When I'm Telling Lies" promo, the return, the promo he had with The Rock, when The Rock came back and main evented Mania, when he took him and that promo we did on Raw, and he was just like, is it you're in here with God now, or you're fighting with God, or something? Was one of the lines he said. Like your arms aren't long enough, or your arms won't be long enough because you're boxing with God. Is what he said. Like one of the lines. Like that's just like you're in there with the fucking Rock, and you just like absolutely just annihilate him. Like you go away to Hollywood and we're here every week, and you think you can come back and do what you need to do. Just the whole message behind it, and then of course the fucking pipe bomb promo, which is within the wrestling world is one of the most famous promos ever. This guy is amazing. Once again, he blurs the lines. He doesn't. He says it because he believes it. A lot of the time, it's real to him. Like he's telling you the truth because that's what he believes to be the truth. The promo that he had when he was in there with Triple H and Triple H started shooting back on him. That little back and forth they had at the time. And Triple H is in the suit with his little ponytail.
Yep.
Like you only want to be on top because it benefits you. You only want to be this because it benefits you. And he's like, no.
This
like,
isn't CM Punk talking
shit.
to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque.
This is Phil Brooks to Paul Levesque. Yeah, shooting from the hip. Like it's just the guy's fucking money. I'm talking about this now. I'm a little bit annoyed with myself that I haven't put him any higher. He should be higher on my list. I fucked up. Oh well.
You fucked up.
I fucked up. But yeah, he's just the guy. He's just the tits, right? He really is the tits.
Yeah, so good.
You stick him in there with somebody you can go back to him as well, and it's just magic. Absolute magic. So yeah, CM Punk. Annoyingly, my number 7. I'll tell you why I went number 7. It's my lucky number. I've got it tattooed on me, so there you go. Technically, it's my number 1. What? No.
What? But the thing is, though, right? I think what we've got to remember, and this is to the audience as well. This is obviously a list of 10 people, but this 10 is interchangeable. You know, if you think about the number of wrestlers and the number of people within wrestling that have existed from day dot to the present day, okay, these people are 10. You know, it's a very, very small percentage of people. You know, so even though it's, in your opinion, number 7 might be too low for them. It's just, I mean, dude,
it's still a lot higher than a lot of people.
Exactly, yeah. No, but that's a fair shout. I mean, CM Punk is on my list. We'll talk about him later as well. Cool. Over to me, I believe, then, Hoxie Boy. My number 7.
Number 6. Number 7, yes. Yeah.
My number 7 is the People's Champ, The Rock. Again, see what I mean? It's like number 7. He probably could be higher. But again, this is down to how, one, impact in the business. Okay, I think in terms of just promo work, again, we've talked about it before. If you grew up during the Attitude Era, okay, and you didn't walk through, and you walk through like your school or your college, and you didn't hear "it doesn't matter what your name is," or just bring it, or know your role and shut your mouth, or Rudy Poo candy ass shit like that, then were you even a wrestling fan? Okay, it's like you must have been hiding under a rock somewhere, no pun intended. But this guy epitomizes charisma on the microphone. Whether it was taking the piss out of Steph. Poor Steph, she got it tight. No pun intended. But even so, I mean, the comedic stuff was great. When he sings to like Vicky Guerrero again. If you've seen that Raw episode, it's like he's just so super talented on the mic in terms of, again, it's that thing about grabbing an audience. And yeah, he's got his sort of gimmick catchphrases. But he was so good on the mic. He can turn a sixpence. It's the bit where the draft as well. When I think it was the first draft, and he gets drafted to, was it SmackDown? He got drafted to, and he gets the entire crowd like in unison to call Vince McMahon as an asshole. You are an asshole. And again, check that out on YouTube as well if you haven't seen that. And it's literally every single person is just enthralled by The Rock. And again, you've got to think where he came from. It's like the young Rocky Maivia, came out and, all smiling, all happy and getting booed out the building, die Rocky die. Then he made his heel turn, Nation of Domination, and he was just him on the mic. He wanted to be booed then. It's like, I'm going to make you boo me now. And he had that talent on the mic. And then he obviously became uber over again. I've used that phrase before, talking about Jericho. He was so over as the babyface. He became the sort of benchmark in WWF, WWE at the time, WWF at the time, WWE now. And then he went to Hollywood, and people are bad mouthing him. He's abandoned us, blah blah blah. He comes back, still gets the pop. He still gets on the mic, and he still does his thing. And then he does his sort of heel turn in terms of that cocky like Hollywood superstar. Again, his sort of promo work there's phenomenal as well. Just even on like via the Titantron, like via satellite, it's just so good. Such a talented individual. He had to be on my list. As soon as you mention someone on the microphone, I'd be very surprised if we get any listing from any of our listeners that don't include The Rock in some place, in some shape or form. So yeah, my number 7 is the People's Champ, Rock.
Cool. Can't argue, mate. No arguments from me at all. We might discuss The Rock sooner rather than later.
Well, there we go. See. Okay, moving on to my number 6 then. And to be honest, my number 7 and 6 are definitely interchangeable. Again, if we talk about impact, and number 6 is John Cena. I think John Cena, his early work as the Dr. Thugonomics, I think it brought something sort of new to it in terms of the rap aspect, the sort of Wish Vanilla Ice, if you will. Because that's him. He didn't get a lot of that written for him the early days. It's him. It came up with. He's so intelligent with it, and then it drafted into like his bright colours. What was it? The Fruity Pebbles, as The Rock called them.
Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah,
Fruity Pebbles.
But he still had the ability to listen to the audience and then, just lay a little nugget to get the smart fans to pop a little bit. I mean, there was a bit where he was talking about, a heel turn, after like so many years of people wanting to go from face to heel, and it's just little stuff, like little nuances he does. And then obviously he comes back again sort of part-time, the Roman Reigns, I think I've mentioned it before, it's like, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm here because you can't do your job. I'd do this better part-time than you ever could do it full-time. And it's just, and it's this realism. It's because you look at him and you go, do I know something? He's fucking right. It's like you boo him, you can cheer him, he gets the reaction. It's not go away here. It's literally, it's one similar to The Rock. He's just uber talented, super talented. And yeah, again, I think Cena is deserving to be any sort of list. Again, for a guy to hold up essentially the biggest wrestling company in the world for well over a decade, and it was him. I don't think there's any argument about that.
No,
at a time,
not at all.
At a time after the Attitude Era, where they had multiple superstars, there was only really him, and he managed to elevate people to not quite his level. People say he had the golden shovel, but you're only as good as your dance partner, and he managed to elevate people that probably in any other time wouldn't be on the main event level. And yeah, Cena for me, number 6.
That's the thing with Cena, when he was a made guy. So and when you are that made guy, when you, so they call it the rub. When someone gets rubbed up against you, a bit of that shine will fucking come off, right? It'll rub against them, and you talk about the golden shovel and this, that, and the other. Like, who was about who could do what he did?
No one.
No one. No one. He had the heels to go up against, the Randy Ortons and all the fucking the beasts and stuff, the Batistas or whatever. Like there was nobody else in the WWE that could do what he did. He still does it now.
Well, that's crazy. The thing. If you think about, like, what was it? He hadn't won a match or something. He hasn't won a match in so long. And,
years. Yeah.
He put over Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens beat him when Kevin Owens came up. The AJ Styles feud as well. I think, again,
phenomenal. I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. A great promo bit where AJ Styles talking about he would, like, John Cena wouldn't survive in the Indies, and John Cena, again, it's what you said. He was made, and John Cena said it's like, I wasn't made for the Indies. I was made for WWE, and he was. He is that cookie cutter, Hulk Hogan-esque superstar that is purely made for WWE. Would he make it in a Ring of Honor show? No, he wouldn't. Would he make it in an ECW? And you saw the ECW sort of visceral reaction to John Cena when they did One Night Stand. And that's because it's that niche audience that he doesn't fit the mold for. And I think he's, again, if you just that's just John Cena in general. But yeah, mic work, I think he's got to be on any sort of list when talking about people on the mic.
Yeah, it's I can't disagree with what you're saying, John. I really can't. He's made all of the money.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of money for WWE. His passionate promos where he would come out and do what he needed to do and say what he needed to say, and sometimes when he would blur the lines and stuff. Yeah, he's good. Very good.
Just like
very
a big purple, pinwheel rock. Go ahead and blow me. It's like shit like that, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, the Doctor of Economics stuff was fucking brilliant. It was really good. Really good. He forced himself over with that as well.
Yep.
Because they were gonna sack him off, weren't they? They were gonna bid him off. And Stephanie heard him doing it at the back of the plane. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah,
like,
because it was he was the start of Ruthless Aggression, right? He debuted against Kurt Angle. So
2002.
Yep.
Ruthless Aggression.
And after that particular one, like, it was Taker that sort of went, yeah, do you want to know something, kid? Fair play,
Yeah. You do you, hon.
You do you.
You do what you need to do, mate, and I'm pretty sure you'll be all right in this place.
You'll be fine. Yeah, so my number 6 is John Cena. Over to you, Mr. Hawks, number 6.
Number 6 for me, mate, is Paul Heyman.
Okay.
I think he's majorly underrated and slept on when it comes to sort of the impact that he's had on the business for a long time, but especially the successes of the business over the last probably like 5 to 8 years or whatever. This guy is amazing. He's kept the Roman Reigns bloodline feud. Like, the reason the WWE is doing so good right now is because of Reigns and that sort of bloodline thing. Okay, he's pretty much single-handedly kept that rolling on his back. The promos that he's coming out and doing, the interviews that he goes and does everywhere. He's on, what's the back was what they do, John? What's it called? For fuck's sake.
Say again, sorry?
Like the backstage shows that they do, like there's like a panel. Talking Smack.
Talking Smack.
Like, he's on there still running the gimmick and doing promos on that for stuff. One of my favorite promos ever. Like I said, this is obviously opinionless, but this is you got to take into account views of lots of people as well when you're thinking about this sort of stuff. There's a reason he's up there and talked about in this conversation. But he's done a promo with Vince. I think we share, or I shared this to you, or you shared this to me recently, or we shared it to both each other. He done a promo with Vince, talking like, in basically shooting on him, like everything that you have should have been mine. You fucking took it away from me. So like my legacy. My legacy isn't my legacy anymore. It's yours. You took everything away from me that I wanted. Like, it's so good. Like, talking about like Bret Hart, he was talking about Hogan, and he stole ECW away from me with like the TNN thing, just like proper going in. It was inside baseball, but passionate enough for people to understand it without knowing exactly what he was talking about. It was ages ago. It was
I know exactly one.
2001 or 2002. The promo was like, it's one of my favorite. You watch it and it's like goosebumps. And Vince is selling it like a fucking boss as well. Like, he's not shouting back at him, or like he looks like nervous, as if like he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's amazing.
Did
so
you
good.
know that particular promo, like Heyman, Vince didn't know what Heyman was going to say?
Yes. Yeah. It was like just here's your mic.
Heyman kept on saying,
say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, and Heyman was like, all right. So the best part of this, sorry to interrupt you, Hoxie, right? But it was, you took Hulk Hogan's blood and you built Titan Towers. You stole Bret Hart's dream, and with that money bought yourself an airplane with WWF all over it. You did that, and you know it, you son of a bitch. You stole Shawn Michaels' smile, took your company public, and made yourself a billionaire. But not a self-made billionaire like you like to tell everybody you are. Oh no, see, you're a billionaire on other people's hard work. And then he went into his dad and stuff like that. So that promo, fucking incredible.
Just so good. Like, he had his little one when he went and sat in the ring, didn't he? After the Money in the Bank, like his little pipe bomb thing. Obviously, we discussed this recently on the pay-per-views episode. This is EC fucking W. The One Night Stand promo always goes down. Like, when I think of promos, that's one of the ones that always pops into my head. Like that like, just promos generally. That promo is amazing. The stuff that he used to do, like back when he was Paulie Dangerously back in like WCW, like when he was looking after the oh my god, it was a Dangerous Alliance, wasn't it?
Yep.
Just like some of the promos he used to do for those guys. And we talked earlier on, like some of the guys who were in the Dangerous Alliance, they didn't need him, but like he would do it. He had promos against Jim Cornette. Like, the guy could go back then. Paul Heyman is the north, like the northern part of America version of Jim Cornette.
Yep.
The two are exactly the same people. They're just one's from the south and one's from the north. They'll never admit it to each other, but I guarantee they think it. Just so many good promos. Like I said, the stuff he's doing now, he's keeping everything afloat. He's making all of the money. He's made money before. Some of the shit that he done, and I know it's not necessarily a promo, but it kind of is. The speech he gives to the ECW guys before the first pay-per-view. Have you seen that? Like, the the guy's amazing. He's a wordsmith. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows when to say it, what to say it, how to say it, and he can like ebb and flow through his promos. He'll bring a crowd with him. He'll realize that they're getting with him too much, and he'll stop it. You know what I mean? He'll bring them back down. Like, the best promos, he's trying to portray that, like, almost people feeling sorry for him or feeling sorry for the guy he's doing the promo for. He realizes that he might be like turning them or whatever, and it's like, no, I'll fucking shit you. Like, I'll shit on you again. And obviously he was the mouthpiece for Brock through the whole thing. Like, obviously with the streak and obviously his return. Like, you can't say that's not one of the best moments in wrestling, that those two together. Just amazing. So good. so good, and he was one of the first. He was one of the first names that got on my list basically, and yeah, it's just I just love him. I think he's fucking brilliant, and you believe it. You really do believe it. Some stuff that you shouldn't believe. He probably did it with the ECW guys for fucking 5 years when he wasn't paying them, but they wanted to believe him even though they knew he was getting worked. They were getting worked. Like he's so good. Paul Heyman, number 6.
Fair dues. I'm shocked that he's not higher on your list.
Yeah.
Really shocked.
Yeah.
Probably more so than Punk and MJF, but yeah.
There's a bit of. I think we've said this before. I've said this before. Like the top ones are easy, the bottom ones are sort of easier, and then there's that big chunk in the middle where a lot of the time it could literally be a toss up.
Yeah.
Like it could probably go like 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to 7 could be like 4 with a dash next to it, like they have at the golf or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of those sort of things. But yeah, but Paul Heyman's number 6, middle of the pack.
Nice.
But a lot higher than lots of other people. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we're at number 6 now, where we usually take a break and do the Royal Fumble. But as I said at the beginning of the podcast, we're not doing a Royal Fumble this week because it's been such a monumental week of news in terms of wrestling, specifically for WWE. Let's be honest, and the implications it could have with AEW in the past, with obviously Punk returning. But there's a whole host of other stuff that happened within wrestling this week in terms of Survivor Series. So obviously Punk returned at the very end, but I think it should be noted as well, again, I know you don't like him, but the pop that one Mr. Randy Orton got as well after 18 months out after serious back surgery, you know, to the point where he may never have been able to come back again. I think it was a double back fusion surgery, so he came back to a massive pop. Now I know you don't like him, but what's your thoughts on him returning?
I thought we were going to talk about CM a little bit more. I couldn't give a fuck. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking. Or am I? No, like I get it. Like I've said this before. I don't get him, but I understand that for lots and lots and lots of fans, he's a big deal, and to have him back, it kind of. I'll be honest with you. I'm not just saying it to like make you feel better or make anyone feel better. It looked good to have him like back in the ring with people.
Yeah.
Because like he sort of looked like he should be there, if you know what I mean. Obviously I don't want to see anybody fucking hurt and anybody not be able to do what they can do and what they're put on this planet to do or whatever. Like that's not what I'm here. I'm not here to shit on anybody that in that way, but like to see him back was cool. And I tell you what, mate, he fucking looks jacked. Fuck.
He does, right?
Jesus Christ. I obviously he's had some really good vitamins, mate. Those back repair vitamins must be some top notch stuff, right?
The views of Hoxie do not replicate.
Right, vitamin D, vitamin S, vitamin T. Is there a vitamin T? My brother tells me there's a vitamin T.
If you want, yeah, why not?
But mate, it's a big deal. He's one of their stars, isn't he?
He is. Yeah.
Like I said,
love him or hate him. He is one of their big stars.
You know, he's one of their biggest stars, and he signed like a 10-year deal, didn't he, a few years ago?
Yeah.
So they obviously think that as well, and he's definitely getting on a bit. And obviously there was lots of rumors that he might not be able to make it back. So to see him back in the ring is a pretty big deal. And you know what? I saw some footage of him when he came out at the start of Raw and done his little promo and stuff, and he got upset.
Yep.
Like when he was just about to do his pose, and that sort of like it's probably one of the main reasons why I'm sort of being a little bit nice to him right now, because like, that's obviously a big thing for him to come back and sort of have that reaction. And he's always going to get a reaction, isn't he, Randy Orton? So it's one of those things. But like, fair play to him, big time. Fair play to him for getting back, and he got slotted straight back to where he should be slotted in as well, which is the main event, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't get it, but when you look at that crop of people, he's like a big deal, right?
It's really like you said. It's like when you give someone the rub. You know, it's like he does have that star power, and you know, for someone like ultimately he's going to feud with Jey Uso, right? And I think that will solidify Jey into the sort of main event as well, because obviously there's that backstory, and Triple H is good with the sort of going back in time in terms of the backstories and stuff. So I reckon that will be a major feud for Jay, and I think he will get the rub from that. Okay, and I mean, did you? I know you said that you got upset at Raw, but did you see like the bit with Rhea Ripley? It's like I've seen Rhea this, Rhea that, Mammy this, Mammy that, but Daddy's home. It's like it's shit like that. It's like, and then the pop that got for the crowd and Rhea's reaction. It's just, yeah, I think it's a massive deal for WWE. And again, this is something that AEW have got to worry about in terms of star power. They don't have it. It's like, and I mean, they've got Bryan Danielson still. They've got Edge, obviously, Christian, but if you think the star power WWE's got now, sorry.
I'm just going to jump in really quick here. Do you know, I sent you that thing the other day. You talking about star power and people who they haven't got. I sent you that list the other day, didn't I?
Yes.
This might be like a really good, for people who maybe not have seen this or maybe don't understand the sort of level of what we're actually talking about right now. And this is something that they definitely need to be worried about. Should I just run through this list really quickly?
Yeah, please
do.
So
like, we talk about like the biggest period in time in WWE, WWF was that sort of Attitude Era. It really was like. So there was a list that I saw on Twitter the other day. It was all of the stars in the WWF in the year 2000 compared to the stars now, 2023, and their ages. So Lita, 25, Trish Stratus, 25, Hardy Boys, 26 and 23, Edge and Christian, both 27. The Rock was 28, Big Show, 28. I'll skip through. Jericho, 30, Kurt Angle, 32, Benoit Guerrero, Kane, 33, Taker, 35, Stone Cold, 36, Billy Gunn, 37. So all of the big guys, all the big names. There's a few that I missed out, Big Show and etc. The oldest guy there is Billy Gunn. Now, Dominic Mysterio is the youngest at 26, Ripley 27, Belair 34, Bayley 34, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Rollins 37, the Usos, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes 38, Owens 39, Sami Zayn 39, LA Knight 41, Damian Priest 41, Finn Balor 42, Bobby Lashley 47. Like, they've got a good the top tippy top guys have got like 10 years on everybody now than what it was compared to then. That's an amazing stat. We talk about, well, we haven't got any stars. Like, they're not making any stars now.
Yeah.
There's a few like the chosen people or the breakout one. I would say Rhea Ripley's a breakout star. I don't think they ever wanted her to be the girl or the guy or whatever. She's like 27. Fair play. They were messing around with Charlotte and Becky and that for so long that they thought, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Luckily for Rhea, she sort of broke through. But Cody's been signed last year. He's, 37 at the time. Like, all the LA Knight is on the cusp of becoming the guy or a guy.
Yep.
And he's 41. They're not going to have these people around in 4 or 5 years doing what they're doing now because of their age. They need to be really careful. I don't know how old Randy Orton. Randy Orton's got to be in his 40s, right?
Oh, yeah,
he has
easily,
to be in his 40s.
Absolutely.
Let's have a quick look.
Randy Orton, 43.
So he's 43 years old. He's already had a big back injury, and he's coming back from that back injury. He's not going to be going crazy, is he? You know what I mean? So it's they need to be careful, man. They need to be careful because Roman's going to be bugging off to Hollywood at some time very, very soon. And he's 38. So they're all getting up there, aren't they? CM Punk's just come back. He's 45. Like, Punk's he's not going to have long left. It's crazy. They need to be really careful because in 2 or 3 years' time, when some of these guys are going away, they're not going to have anybody to fit in there. And it's going to be forced if they do. It's not good.
I think what's
seen as 46. It's crazy.
I think what's good though is that there is a lot of top level talent in WWE now. You know, with Punk and Orton coming back, and you've got Reigns, etc. It means it lightens the load for everybody, which means it potentially adds on years. And let's be honest, the style for WWE isn't as intense as AEW. Now, obviously, like Road Miles is a different match altogether, but I'm talking about like
Yes.
the types of bumps they're taking isn't as well. It's not like Swerve versus Hangman Adam Page in AEW, right? It's not that sort of
Yeah.
bloodbath type thing. It's a totally different bump. And again, you'll probably be able to explain it better than I can, obviously. But in my impression is that even though that they are like Sami Zayn is 39, Kevin Owens is 39, they probably still have a decent 7, 8 at the top level in terms of years, which allows NXT to sort of to grow those next breakout stars like a Rhea Ripley, you know, because if you think about it, you've got like a Braun Breaker. He's like probably the go-to for the next maybe decade. I think he'll be the next
It
major thing.
surprises me that he isn't already
Up yet.
there.
Yeah.
Like up and yeah, like he is young. He definitely is young. I mean, Austin Theory at the minute, like he's on SmackDown, right? At the minute. Is that okay? Like I said,
Yep.
I'm so disconnected from this. Like I said, I just haven't watched anything for a long time just because I haven't been interested in stuff. But I mean, he should be he really, really should be starting to get in the mix now, and he's in a tag team with the Australian lad. Can't remember
Yep.
his name. Shocking name,
Grayson
awful
Waller.
name. Grayson Waller. That's death by a million cuts to be associated with him. Like he's awful, dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. Like he needs to. Austin Theory needs to have been like just skyrocket to the moon 2 years ago,
Yep.
and he needs to be in the mix of everybody. Like he had that match with Cena at WrestleMania, which was just it was what it was. It was a Cena I haven't wrestled for a long time kind of match, and it was poor. He should have been getting the rub in a big way, and Cena should have been told you need to put this guy over and get him over strong and have a good match, or you just give him to somebody else and do it.
Yep.
It's crazy. I can't think of many other people. I've got the list in front of me. I'm going down the list now of like the talent on the two divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't really think. Like Dragonov is amazing.
Oh,
But
it's
he's
so
too
good.
he's too small. He's too short. If he goes in there with somebody who's 6'4" or whatever, like a Damian Priest or something, just it won't look right. It just
But
won't look
again,
right.
one of the best matches I've ever seen is Dragunov versus Walter at that
Gunther.
time.
Yeah,
Gunther,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
And
so
that works there. Can you see a Dragonov versus? I'm just gonna whatever, like a Dragonov versus Leicester a WrestleMania or something, or a
yeah.
Reigns or so. Like I'm not. I don't want to shit on this guy because I think he's fucking incredible. Like I've
Phenomenal.
seen him wrestle in the flesh at like an NXT show over here, and he done a. I think it might have been a Rev Pro show that I saw him at over here a long time ago. He's fucking sick. Like he's
Yep.
so good, but he they I think they bill him as like 6'4", 5'11" or whatever. He's about 5'6". Like he's a smaller guy. He looks good. He looks the part, and he can work like a big lad. But it's rough, man. It's
Yeah.
rough. Like yeah, just going back to Randy. Like we've got these stars. We've got Star back now, and it's such a big deal. It's such a good thing. It's yeah, it's good. It's good to see. It's good to see him. Definitely.
It is certainly good to see. But obviously, the main talking point is CM Punk returning, yeah. And what do you see next for him? Where do you think, where are we going to go with Punk? It's got to be Rollins, right?
It's going to be Rollins at Mania. He went a WrestleMania maybe, like a night. Because obviously they'll do the 2 nights, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Whether they go on last, I don't know, but I can see that happening for the WWE Wrestling World Champion or whatever the fucking belt is. You know what I mean? I don't know what the belt is now. But I can see that happening potentially. I just think this. I really, really do think this feud's going to be amazing. And what you've got to say about Rollins as well. Like I rate Rollins as a worker. I haven't liked his mad, like weird fucking jokery kind of I am on drugs, fucking LSD kind of gimmick thing he's been having for the last X amount of time. But you put him in there with anybody, he's going to have a great match, a good to great match, and he's safe as houses.
Yeah,
he's safe as houses. Like he had a match with a fucking. It was cell or cage match with Cody when he'd fucked his bicep, his pec or whatever it is, his bicep, and like Rollins, it was the pair of them. It was a masterclass of wrestling because they could only do certain things in a certain way, and like mate, I'm almost even getting emotional just thinking about it. It was beautiful as a wrestler. It was beautiful to watch it. It was so good. Like it was just amazing. And he's going to be going in there with Punk, and it'll just be magic. Yeah, it'll be really good. But there's lots. Like I'd love to see like a Punk maybe going into like an NXT and having a match with somebody like Dragunov. Like would be cool as fuck. I'd love to see Punk against. I'd love to see Punk against AJ, like an older AJ.
yeah,
Punk against Cody would just be fucking. Like I think he could have some real. I think he could have a really good match with an Austin Theory or even a Dominic Mysterio.
Yep.
I think they'd have some good fun because he'd be able to like wrestle in a different way. I just there's so much to do. It's crazy. I love it. I'm excited. It's for the first time in a long time I've been excited about WWE just because he's there and the possibilities of stuff that can go on. Yeah, it's cool, man.
So did you see his promo on Raw?
I did see his promo on Raw. It was cut short because Randy and Dominic went long.
Went too long.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It was very safe.
Yeah.
It was non-inflammatory. It was exactly what it needed to be. He is definitely 100,000,000% not one of those people to say the "I'm home" line because they want him to say it because he wouldn't say it. I guarantee, like he would not say that if he didn't mean it. And for him to like look excited and look happy and look genuinely like saying like genuinely I feel like I'm home, like I feel I'm in the right place, is just really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And just the little sign off at the end, and I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money, is just chef's kiss. I can't wait for him to get involved with some stuff and just go in on people and have a bit of back and forth. It'll be brilliant.
BCM
so good.
Punk. Just BCM Punk. That's it.
Just you do you, hon.
You do you, hon. Yeah, I mean, like I say, there was no Royal Fumble this week, but like I say, I think we could have had an entire podcast just talking about sort of Survivor Series and sort of fallout thereafter. But I think we've sort of covered everything from top to bottom, right? I think. Is there anything else you want to cover?
I just not necessarily just to cover. I can't explain. I'm just going to reiterate again. I can't explain how excited I am to have it. Like it doesn't. It's weird. Like I love wrestling. I don't hang my hat on one person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if it's like football or whatever sports or whatever, like I'm a Sunderland fan, so I'm going to support Sunderland and nobody else or whatever. Like when it comes to wrestling, I like lots of wrestlers and I like wrestling.
Yeah.
Like to have this one person forever, this one person to have that much of like an impact on my excitement level is really good. I feel like I'm just starting to watch fucking Raw again when I was like 9 or something. You know what I mean? Just like really fucking excited about it. It's cool, man. I'm as excited as I am now about this than I was when he first come back, and that was like another level of excitement for me as well. It's cool, man. It's cool. I like it.
Wrestling's cool, man. I love it.
Wrestling is cool.
Awesome. So that CM Punk has returned to WWE. He's went back home, as he said himself, on Monday Night Raw. But now we're going to go back to our list of top 10 people on the mic in the wrestling business. Okay, Hoxie, we are back to you with your number 5.
Cool. So my number 5 is Dusty Rhodes. Basically, we talk about some of the greatest guys that's ever done it. Dusty Rhodes is going to be in this conversation. He didn't get there because he looked like the Ultimate Warrior or anything like that. Like he never, like I said, we can't say that Dusty was a body guy. No way, shape, or form. He was a really, really, really good worker. Like I said, not in the crazy move category, but he was just a great worker with anybody you put him in there. He was around the territories. He was making towns. Like he done that through work, but mainly him on the mic. His promo work was just amazing. He was funny, but not in like a funny ha ha way, like a clever funny kind of way. He could go in there and do like a really passionate promo. He could go in there and talk about business. He could give you stuff that would make you emotional. He would give you stuff that got you riled up and like angry and stuff. Like this guy was amazing. His voice, like his actual deliverance, his delivery of the promo was amazing. He was you could have 100 voices and you know which one is Dusty baby. Like you know what I mean? Like he was the guy. Just so good. Such a great promo. And if you want to sort of pick one promo out of it, it's the Hard Times promo. Like just Google YouTube, Dusty Rhodes, Hard Times. Like the whole thing to do with like obviously with him and Flair and all that sort of stuff. Just amazing, amazing promo, and it goes down as one of the greatest promos in history, basically. Just such a great guy on the mic. Amazing promo, so good. And we say earlier on about the money, like he knew exactly where to give the money to. Like he knew exactly what to do, where to put it in, what to say. Like he was on commentary as well. So like that crossover from a great promo onto commentary when he was in WCW. He spoke to that every man. Like he found that sort of that like niche, not necessarily a niche, but like that majority of people, that working class man, like the son of a plumber. Like he spoke to everybody at that level. He wasn't doing your gorgeous like George or your Ric Flair promos or like you're talking about Rolexes and all this, that, and the other. Like I'm a hardworking man with some kids and a family, and I'm doing it for you guys. You know what I mean? It was just he's amazing.
It was sort of
Dusty
Bruno
was incredible.
Sammartino, like that sort of level in terms of speaking to the average Joe, right?
Yeah, there's more people out there who are working 9 to 5 in blue jeans than they are wearing suits. Like he knew that, and he spoke to them, and he connected with like African American audiences as well, with like some of his references and some of his like the company that he would keep and some of the references he would make. He was just he was great. Dusty was great, man, and I do not think if you talk about goats of promos, that's why he's in my top 5. Like that, the goat conversation is for me is top 5 definitely, and he's in there. Like he's not one of my favorite wrestlers, if you know what I mean. So it's probably not one of the reasons why he's maybe not a bit higher. But in terms of greatest promos ever, that you give him a mic, we need to do this. Go and do it, Dusty, and he'll do it. Just amazing. Such a great promo. Phenomenal guy. Yeah.
He was of that generation, right, where you could just give him a mic and he would sell tickets. Yeah, it's just he's one of the best ever. He's not on my list. He's not on mine.
That's interesting.
Again, it's similar to Vinnie Mac. It's a case of he was there up until like the very last moment, but again, it's more about other promos that have made me feel something. And obviously, the Hard Times promo is probably the most famous promo of all time, you know, and you know you'll have one or two other things that will beat it, but it will be alongside it. But if you say Hard Times to a wrestling fan, they'll know 9 times out of 10 what you're talking about. So, but yeah, there's other people,
and they'll probably say Hard Times back to you in his voice as well.
Exactly, yeah. But no, I can't disagree with you, mate. Yeah, I mean, he was very close to being on my likes. Like I say, very close to like similar to Vince McMahon. But there are people that I think were maybe slightly better, or just made me feel something a slightly bit more than Dusty did. But yeah, that's just personal preference, right? That's what it's all about.
Yep. There we go.
Interesting. Number 5, Dusty Rhodes from Hoxie. Okay, my number 5, and this is again, you might like him or hate him. It's like Marmite, I suppose. It's the Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper. He had an authentic style of being an absolute fucking nutcase. You know, it wasn't like warrior-esque madness, but just a guy that you would look at him, and I'm talking like in his sort of prime, because he was a big guy in his prime, yeah? It was like he was the sort of guy that could talk and he could back up what he was saying, and it was believable. You know, it's like, what was these movie quote? It's like, I'm here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of gum or something. It was something along
kick ass and chew bubble gum.
Yeah, I'm all out of gum. Yeah, so it's like he was just so cool, man. It's like you don't get given like a talk show in inverted commas on wrestling. You know, Piper's Pit is synonymous with like
it was the OG,
wrestling.
Wasn't it?
It was
the
first
OG, one.
You know, and that's testament to his ability on the mic. You know, going back to what I said about like being the sort of the hard ass talker, but he's got the ability to back it up. I think this is what John Moxley wants to be like, you know, but Moxley hasn't got a modicum of the talent that Rowdy Roddy Piper had.
Or the intelligence.
Or, you know what I mean? It's like, I genuinely believe that's what in Moxley's head, he wants to be the next sort of Rowdy Roddy Piper, the sort of being really smart with his promos, but at the same time it's like having the ability to kick ass, and he just doesn't have that. He's not Piper, and I don't think anybody will ever be like the next Piper. You know, it's like he did all this, and then as he got older, he still had the ability to sort of remain relevant. I mean, it got to the stage where he was doing the sort of street fight with Goldust, if you remember that.
Yes,
at WrestleMania. Yep. And then even more recently, there was the feud with Jericho and the Legends, if you remember that.
And Ricky Steamboat and all them.
Exactly. Yep. Great match. But there was a promo, and I think I was talking to you about it, actually, and it's a promo that will bring a tear to your eye. It's Roddy Piper just on the mic. Again, if you haven't seen it, guys, YouTube, Roddy Piper, Jericho promo, and it's one of those ones where he pulls at your heartstrings, you know. And again, it's to do with the cadence, it's to do with how quickly or how slowly in this, it's like he looks his age, but at the same time it's like he does something to the audience. He has them in the palm of their hand, and you know, it's that one simple line, old school is cool, and that's the sort of the speed and the tone that he had with it, and like legitimately it's like goosebumps, and there is a tear comes to my eye every time I watch that promo, because I'm getting emotional just now talking about it, Jesus Christ. He typifies what I think it means to be like a sort of wrestling fan. You know, that's what you're looking for. You want that sort of love for the business. And I think it's a love that we have as a fan. Obviously, you are a wrestler, but for me, he nailed that promo, and everything he done, I loved. And he wore a kilt.
The way he says it as well. Like, he's emotional talking it, and he's almost saying it like sympathetically, like he's trying to sort of convince Jericho, like convince himself as well. It's so good.
It's believable, you know. And I think it's like this. It's like the Jericho thing as well. It's like he reinvents himself. So it was that sort of hard ass, you know, from the WrestleMania 1 type thing, and then went through time. He was hard ass. He became a bit more mental, even more mental, fucking certifiable. Then it sort of changed. He went away. He's smacking Snuka with the coconut, and you know, then he went away, came back. The Goldust thing. It was again, he reinvented himself to be sort of on the edge in terms of like being shit with Goldust, because he was freaked out, you know, with the whole like Goldust cross-dress and stuff. And then it came back to when he was old. He was an old man, and he knew that. He knew he probably couldn't kick ass, but he said himself, like, until the day he dies, he'll wander down this because he loves this. He loves talking to the crowd. And yeah, Piper, man, it's just that's he sums it up himself. Old school's cool, and he is the epitome of old school for me. And yeah, so he's my number 5.
Cool. Might speak about him quite soon.
Totally emotional, man. It's crazy.
Nah, mate, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
Guys, there you go. There you go.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So
who's
my
next? Is
my
it me?
number no, it's me, my number 4. Okay, my number 4 is someone that you've already spoken about, and I was surprised he was not higher up for you. It's MJF, my number 4. Again, right now there is no one in wrestling that is as good as him in all facets of the business. Yeah, there may be discussions what we'll talk about later in terms of on mic, but MJF for me is, in the next decade, he will be in the discussion of being the greatest of all time. You know, obviously there's a lot can happen. You know, we've talked about AEW, etc., and we've said that he potentially could have signed. We think he's signed, but regardless what happens there, he has the talent, he has the skill, he has the mic work, which we're talking about today, that puts him up there with some of the best. You know, we talked about Flair in mine. I'm sure Flair's going to come on to yours, probably your number 1. I'm just guessing, but you know, he has Flair type qualities when he speaks. You know, when he gets properly excited, it's like if you close your eyes when he's getting properly riled up, MJF, it's Ric Flair that you're listening to. It's incredible, the sort of, again, we talk about cadence and tone and stuff like that, and it's just incredible. He's so good. The best, like, his work with CM Punk, I said it earlier on, it's the best stuff that AEW has done, and it's went from when they first met each other in the ring, and you know, it's not just how he speaks to people, it's how he responds being spoken to. You know, it's like CM Punk saying, like, you know, you're just like a less famous Miz. It's his facial reactions as well. I think that's all down to mic work as well. It's just shit like that. It's just so good.
It's all part of it. Yeah,
it's all part of it. It's all that sort of psychology to it. It's what I find phenomenal about him is that we've already said that there's not many stars in AEW, right? And we've already said in the past, and we've had this discussion before, you're only as good as your partner, right? What he has the ability of doing is, we know how talented he is on the mic, and he could easily bury every single person on that roster. And it may appear, again, I might be thinking out of turn here, but I think he buries them, in inverted commas, but not to the extent where they can never recover. He always gives them a way out in order to come back and try to get to his level. So he knows what side he's like toast buttered on, right? He knows exactly that he needs people to work with. So he knows he's smarter than 95% of the bloody roster, right? But he's not going to bury them to the same extent that, you know, he'll get over, but he's got no one to work with in the future. I think he's really smart. He's a very, very smart worker, very smart promo. But again, if we go for best promo that I've ever seen him do, it's that worked shoot he did on Tony Khan, Fire Me, you know, Fire Me. For me, in the modern day, that's what you want in a promo. You want to turn around to your mate and say, holy shit, was that supposed to happen? You know, is that real? Is it not?
We're all smart to the business, right? Everyone knows what's going on. We all listen to Dave, and we look on the internet, and yeah, fucking hell, we know what's going on.
It's like
bullshit.
Holy shit! It's like he blurs the line between a work and a shoot, and I think that's phenomenal, and that's testament to how talented he is on the mic, and that's why he's my number 4.
For me, he isn't up there literally because he hasn't been around for as long, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, no, I get you.
I forced him onto my list. Not forced him, but I had to get him on there. I wasn't going to put him at number 10. Mate, he's above fucking Chris Jericho for me, which says a lot.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, right? I just the guy's gold.
Man. He's so good.
I would go as far to say, and I was going to discuss this at some point anyway, as part of the list, but MJF is more of a Roddy Piper to me than he is a Ric Flair. With the way that he does things, take away like the delivery of it, like the the craziness and whatever. It's like how he does it and what he does
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
how he
would agree
can
with that.
get under your skin and he doesn't need to have. We'll come back to it. MJF for me, he's incredible, but the only reason he's not higher up on the list is because when you look at the other people I'm going to speak about now, you can't really compare MJF to these people, if that makes sense. So,
That's absolutely fair.
yeah,
Again, it's all
yeah,
opinion based, right? And
yeah,
right now,
exactly.
yeah. So, but I
And you're
think,
wrong.
fuck you. But he's deserving definitely to be on a top 10. And I think, as I said at the very beginning as well, placement for me was very, very difficult. So yeah, my number 4, MGF. Over to you, Mr. Hawks. You're number 4.
My number 4 is someone who you spoke about earlier on. It is The Rock.
Yep.
Um, when you look at the, if you like throw, if you sort of go onto Google and type in like the best wrestlers on the mic or the best promos in wrestling or whatever you Google, he's going to be towards the top of the list of like every single one of them for good fucking reason. Like it's the fucking Rock. Like he could go in the ring. He looked $1,000,000. Like he was amazing. Fuck me. Like the guy was incredible. One of the best WWE champions of all time.
Yep.
In the archives, go and check it out. YouTube or Spotify
Episode
or
number 1.
wherever you find your podcasts. He's the great one, right? He says it himself, and everyone ever says it. Like you said earlier on about all of his catchphrases, there is, if I think he transcended into sort of common, like into that sort of culture as well with a lot of this stuff at one period of time. The memorable moments that he had, like the promos that he did, the segments, like it's not just standing in the middle of a ring and having like standing there with a mic and saying like, "Oh, I'm going to kick your ass next week on Raw in Seattle." It's like it's everything. Every time you get an opportunity to speak, that's what being on the mic is about. Like the funny shit that he would do. I did it for The Rock. Like the fucking there's the famous GIF now, isn't there, with when he was with the Nation when he's doing the fucking eye roll thing when Farouk's talking, like just all that mad shit. So good, so good, and he gets a little bit of grief now and a little bit of shit now because it's like, oh, he had Gewurtz, like Brian Gewurtz, like write it for him and this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, but a lot of the earlier stuff he didn't when he wasn't a fucking big deal. And that's when he made himself. You know what I mean? That's when he made most of these fucking like catchphrases and that. And what he used to do, which was really good, sometimes he sort of went a little bit too far and buried the people he was in there with, which was a bit rough. But he would go in there and take the piss out of somebody, but it would always be really serious. He would always bring it back. He would go in there and like if he was in there with Jericho or whatever, he'd like take the piss out of him. But he'd always then bring it back to like okay, I know we're gonna have this match at Backlash or whatever. Like bring your A game because I'm gonna bring my fucking A game as well. It's like he would go all the way to that edge. He would never go off the edge, and he would bring it all the way back and make sure that he's whoever he was wrestling in a big deal in a big show in a big match was always serious. Because if you bury somebody and you beat them, you haven't beaten anybody. This is like sort of promo class 101. Like fucking hell, I'll teach people the way that I got taught. If you go out there and you fucking start, oh, you're shit, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like it's gonna take me 2 minutes. It's not. You're not even worth my fucking time. Blah 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 blah. And you give them any ounce of like offense, or they beat you. How much of even more of a bellend does that make you look for losing or getting your ass kicked? Like you need to make them credible. You need to make them serious. You need to put the issue across if there's an issue. It could be as silly as fucking you stole my hat or whatever. But if you make that hat mean something to the like my granddad gave me that hat. It's the last thing that my granddad ever gave me before he passed away. Blah, blah, blah. You mean all that bullshit, like whatever, like it means something, like, and that's what The Rock used to really, really do well. Is he would always push and push and push, and it doesn't matter what your name is, you candy ass, Rudy Poo, and I'm gonna fucking stick it sideways and shove it up straight with. But he'd always be like, okay, I'll fucking see you at WrestleMania. Like I'll beat you, and I'll take that fucking title, or I'm coming out with this title around my waist again. And it was just it was brilliant. He was brilliant at doing that.
Yeah.
comedy but serious, and like I said, the amount of memorable moments and memorable catchphrases this guy's got, just amazing. And one of my favorite like moments of him is, do you know when the NWO came back and
Yep.
he bumped it and he got the was it he like took a photograph of him of the for his kid or something. He's
Yeah.
like, oh,
And
can I get a photograph of you, Hulk? And then like stick the
Hogan
fucking phone up
said,
your
yeah,
ass or whatever.
Hogan said like something about the people's choice, and then he goes through each of them. You give it to you, Hogan. It's already turned. And then he goes on like Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Yeah,
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 it's so good. Yeah, so good.
yeah. Yeah, hey man, he says like to fucking Scott Alden and does the little
Hey
fingers,
yo,
like, ooh, like yeah, it's so good,
it's
brilliant.
interesting going back to the burying people. The one that
Mm,
always so the fact is you can take the piss out of them, then you always bring it back. The best thing that I've seen him do was when he sung La Bamba to Eddie Guerrero on Raw. I don't know if you remember that one.
fuck me, I can't remember that.
I'll say it right.
Jesus,
So again,
yeah,
so basically he comes out and he goes, "Oh Eddie Guerrero," and then he just sings La Bamba, and then at the end of it, when he takes the piss out of him, he goes, "The Rock knows you're a bad cat and you can bring it," but and then he goes, I think it was Backlash. It was like, "I'm going to kick your candy culo," and then he integrates that into like his catchphrase. Again, I'll send you that link
amazing.
as well. It's so fucking
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So good.
That's brilliant. That's so good. I probably have seen it, but I just can't remember it or whatever. But yeah, I'll watch that. I'll take great joy in watching that back. I love it. Yeah, brilliant. Cool. Number 4, The Rock. Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Okay, Hoxie, you're number 3 then, my friend.
Number 3, we've very recently spoke about him, Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Um, he, whenever I think about Roddy, do you know you got fucking emotional earlier on? Like, just
Yep.
talking about him and thinking about him makes me emotional. Like, I fucking miss him so much.
Yep.
I miss him being in wrestling so much. Um, it's just the guy. Like, he's 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 one of the best to have ever done it,
Yep.
ever. But nobody ever speaks about him because he's not. He was never the champ or never like quote unquote the guy. Like he didn't need to be the guy. He would. He'd probably in a calendar year he'd probably wrestle 3 times, but he'd be on the TV show like every week or every other week.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made all the money, like work smarter, not harder kind of thing. Like
Yep.
he made all of the money he needed to do, not necessarily him actually making a paycheck, but making the money, quote unquote, without needing to wrestle.
Yep.
He didn't need to go out and wrestle. Like he 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 would go out there, he would have a promo, he would do his Piper's Pit, he would have a vignette backstage, or he would do like a pre-tape or something. Every single time he was on the screen, you listened, you wanted to listen, you wanted to see what you had to say, you wanted to see what he was going to do. That you saying earlier on, he was like batshit crazy, like why no, I'm gonna like just I love that period of Roddy Piper where he'd be like and then he'd just go nice and quiet. Well, I'm gonna make sure that I'll get you, like just up and down and crazy cadence and like different energy and just mad shit. It was so good. You wanted to see what he was gonna do. You wanted to hear what he was gonna say. Um, the promo for the match, um, he had a little feud. The What was the IC belt, wasn't it? Because it weren't the world title. Because he never had the world
Yep.
title. He won the IC belt. And he had the feud with Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like he never like annihilated Bret Hart. He was never like I'm gonna like I want the best version of you. I
Yep.
want you to come back. I want you to be the Bret Hart that I know like that you can be, so I can prove that I can beat you. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? I'm not gonna go in there and or try and get behind your back or anything like that. Like this is me. This is wrestling. Let's wrestle. And it was just fucking amazing. And just yeah, all the shit he used to do back in the day, like some of the stuff he would do, like fuck me, mate. There's promos back when he was doing the territory stuff. Like he was just amazing, amazing. He was that obviously that good and that believable in what he did and what he portrayed. He was Hollywood. Like
Yeah.
he was the first guy to cross over into Hollywood doing films. Like he was amazing. Charisma up the fucking wazoo. Like everybody loved him. Stone's just amazing guy. And like you say that the promo with Jericho when he gets like and it's not wrestling serious. It's him. Like
Yep.
it's actually him coming out of like almost coming completely out that veil of rowdy Roddy Piper. He becomes fucking Roderick Toombs. You know what I mean? He
Yep.
literally this is me. This is what I've done all of my life. This is how I've paid my bills. Like this is what I am. I am a wrestler. And like you guys don't know what we did. You don't know what we had to do. Like you've got no fucking idea what I've had to do to get to where I am right now, and I can't do that anymore. And you guys are lucky that you can. You need to put some fucking respect on our name. Just the tone and the delivery and like, oh my god, mate, just yeah, Roddy Piper, what a guy. And he
So good.
single handedly sold WrestleMania 1 pretty much.
Yep.
So like we talk about changing, like what is it, the fucking change sliding doors moments or whatever. You look at those big periods in time. WrestleMania 1 was probably the main one. Vince McMahon had everything on there, and if he didn't have a Roddy Piper to pull that off, they'd be nowhere
Different
near
story.
where they are now.
Totally
Yeah,
different
whole
story.
different story. Roddy was the guy, man. He was the fucking guy.
So good.
He was only the guy till number 3 because there's 2 other people above me, but it's close, man. This is the closest top 3 that I've had, definitely.
Really?
Roddy Piper's just there, just because of the other 2 are more of a feeling thing, if you know what I mean. But it's still very, very, very close, very close.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Roddy Piper,
Can't
what a
disagree.
guy.
Yep.
I miss
That's
him, man.
not
Miss
going
him
to
so
talk
much.
anymore about Roddy. I will cry.
Yeah.
It's not good. Okay. Excellent shout. What I love so far is that the list. There's nothing been really left field. You know, it's all been fair dues. I love it. So good. So good.
There's one from you which has been left field, which we'll circle back to, I would imagine.
I think I know. Is that just down to positioning?
Yes,
Right, okay, thought so.
massively.
Okay, fair dues, that's fine. Okay, my number 3, moving on swiftly, is, we've talked about him before when we talked about tag teams, it's Mr. Jim Cornette. I think when you think, we talked about tag teams, Midnight and the Rock and Roll, and I think it was you that said it, Hoxie. He was the one that put bums in seats. He made tag team wrestling the hottest thing ever just by being the biggest asshole on the mic possible, you know. This is why he had the tennis racket, you know. It was there as a defense weapon. It was also it's an upper class sport, blah blah blah. It's like, but it was there so he could defend himself because people wanted to kill him. You know, he even when he was working like on NWA more recently, you know, before it changed hands several times. His stuff was still good. He knows wrestling, and I know I mentioned that on the tag team. Again, if you want to listen to that podcast, go back and check out the tag team podcast. He knows what wrestling was about. He still knows what wrestling's about. He knows the simple. You keep it simple, you know. That's what it's all about. You know, even to today, he's very outspoken. If you haven't checked out the Jim Cornette Experience, make sure you do. The drive-through as well. One of the best wrestling podcasts out there, other than Mark out of 10, of course.
Yeah.
You know, his
Mostly
podcast is incredible because he knows wrestling. His ability in the mic, he can turn on a sixpence. I've mentioned it a few times. He can put the audience in the palm of his hand and make them react how he wants to. You know. Again, it's one of those ones, it's similar to when we talked about the Road Warrior Pop. I just wish I was there in his prime during the Rock and Roll and Midnight Express feuds. I think that would have been an incredible thing just to witness how toxic and vitriolic the crowds could be just because of what Jim was saying on the mic. I love Jim Cornette. I know people shit on him a lot, but I love a bit of JC. So yeah, JC for me is number 3.
Yeah, he's the fucking man.
He's so
fucking
good.
brilliant. Yeah, he's obviously a lot of the stuff he says is inflammatory. You know what I mean? Like he's probably the greatest. I don't even think if that's the term to use, but I'll use it anyway because it's the easiest way for me to explain it. He's the greatest shock jock in
100%.
the world, like in wrestling. Like he knows what he's doing. Half of it's in gimmick, but half of it's like life, and his gimmick is probably very close to him anyway. But you can't argue with anything that he says. You really can't.
No.
If you have any understanding of how wrestling was, is, and should be to a certain degree now, all things change, but you still need the core there. You have to listen to what he's saying. Who's next after this? Is it you or is it me?
It's me after this, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
It's me.
Should we do my number 2 now?
Is it JC?
And because it's Jim Cornette, yeah.
Okay, what do you got? Yeah, fire away.
Do my number 2 now. So, my number 2 is Jim Cornette. The greatest manager ever.
Yep.
Not even close for me. Heat magnet, heel promo, like you say. Just reiterate what you've said. Like people legitimately, not like, oh, I'm gonna get you, oh, you bastard. They wanted to jump the rail and stab him, kill him, and strangle him, beat the fuck out of him, and it happened several times.
Mm-hmm.
When you go out there and you talk, because he wasn't a wrestler, he took a couple of bumps and he had a couple of matches, but they weren't. They were just gimmick matches, quote unquote.
Tuxedo match.
When you go out there and you just talk into a microphone on telly, and you've got that many people wanting to kill you, you're doing a good fucking job. Like holy shit! Like you don't fuck about with him.
Yep.
You do not fuck with. He had a bit to do recently, didn't he, on Twitter, and someone was arguing with one of the wrestlers. I can't remember who it was, but
narrow it down. I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah. There's a lot, yeah. But X-Pac come out and said like, don't fuck with Jim Cornette. Like, you didn't do it then, and you don't do it now because he'll just like wipe the floor with you.
Sure.
Like X-Pac's like Sean Waltman's on the fucking like on an interview just saying like, nah, like. He can say whatever the fuck he wants about me. I ain't gonna touch it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you've got somebody like that saying stuff, shit's real. It's it goes the other side of the camera as well. It's just amazing. But like, yeah, the money drawn, the feuds that were ran off that, the tag teams obviously made the name. I've talking about the tag team, but it just JC, man, fuck, and like he's still doing it today. He's still doing it now. He can cut a promo on a motherfucker in the street because he hasn't given him the right fucking mail or he got his order wrong at a fucking Wendy's or whatever. You know what I mean? All you got to do is Google.
Wendy stuff is so fucking fun. I love his podcast, man.
Google Jim Cornette drive-through, like for real, like his food order. Motherfucker.
God damn.
Quite regularly in our real life. If we do something bad or funny or bad, taking the piss, we'll just motherfucker, goddamn shit.
There's a bit of the podcast where they're talking about WWE and like he's ripping into them, saying it's garbage and stuff, and his phone rings in the background, right? and he goes, "Oh, that's probably them now," and he picks it up, doesn't even see who it is. He just goes, "What do you want? Fuck off, I'm busy," and hangs up the phone straight away, and it's on his podcast. It's so fucking good. He just doesn't care. He's of the age where he doesn't give a fuck, and I love it for him.
NFLTG, mate. No fucks left to give. He's made all of his money. He's happy at fucking in fucking Castle Cornet with all of his stuff, living his life. Just him and Stacey and fucking Harley Quinn. Let him crack on, but. He's still cutting promos now. Yep. Like he's the biggest miss. Excuse me. He's the biggest miss in wrestling. It's all because of the way he is. Like you can't have him in a corporate environment, which is completely understandable. But imagine not being able to find a way to tap in to that brain, or the only way to do it is to listen to his podcast. I'll tell you what to do. My Spotify Wrapped came up today, and this isn't necessarily why I've started a podcast or anything like that. I've spent just on the experience. So my top listens for this year. Number one is Jim Cornette Experience. Number two is Jim Cornette's Drive Through. Yep. I've spent 10,601 minutes listening just to the experience this year alone.
Wow.
That's without the Drive Through being on there as well, and it's probably 10,600 minutes. You know what I mean? There's probably 1 minute in it because I listen to it all the time when I'm driving around at work. Yep. They're long episodes, so they're like some of them are like 4 hours or whatever. But like the knowledge he has,
incredible.
I've learned so much listening to this guy, and you watch him. He was so young when he started. He was so young. He was cutting these promos when he was like 21 years old. Like he'd been in the business 12 months.
Yeah.
And fucking Dusty's like, yeah, come on then, let's have a bit of this. He's getting thrown into like main event tag team title matches with guys who've been around the business forever, and he's out promoting them and out fucking working them on the mic. It's crazy. So good. Guy's a fucking genius. Absolute genius.
Love him.
Yeah. Jim Cornette, number 2.
Fantastic. Cool. I mean, a lot. We talked about someone like on my list in terms of like 5 or 6 of them that were a lock on the list, and he was one of the first names on there. It was just depending on position. Mm-hmm. Now, my last 2 are all about how you know not how they make you feel, but like why I love sort of wrestling at the moment. And my number 2 just now is CM Punk. Again, probably interchangeable throughout the list, which is absolutely fine. And it's basically everything we've talked about throughout the news segments, through like, you know, from the other people we've done. Because if you think about some of the people we've talked about, you know, MJF, we've talked about Jericho, you know, those people have had interactions with CM Punk and they're golden, you know. Everything he does on the mic turns to absolute gold. As I said many, many times, the MJF and CM Punk stuff is the best thing that AEW's done. Like, I'm not talking just about the first time they met, but I'm talking about the entire program. Like, you brought up as well, like, the photograph thing, MJF was, like, emotional with that thing, and that's what made MJF so great. But it was also Punk, how he read that and how he actually responded as well. It's the stuff that he doesn't say into the mic is almost as important as what he does say into the mic. And again, that's the psychology element to it. Obviously, the pipe bomb. We've got the ice cream bars with Vince McMahon. There's so many fantastic moments with CM Punk. It's very difficult. You could have it just on a podcast on its own. But yeah, for me right now, I think potentially it's too high just because it's this sort of, because of what's happened in the most recent past in terms of coming back twice, and it's just been an absolute epic. But yeah, I can't really go into what we haven't said already. Basically, it's just fucking, he's just different class on the mic. He just exemplifies what it should be when you're cutting a promo.
I said earlier on, I've like pissed myself off that I didn't put him higher. The more and more I was talking through it, and the more and more I was thinking about it, I was like, I nearly called Oklahoma, like rewrote my whole fucking list, like live. I was like, no. What I probably would have done, looking back at this now, this is the first time I'm ever going to do this. I would probably put him at number 4. I'd probably change him and The Rock around. Looking at where my list is, if I was to redo this again now, I would have The Rock at number 7 and CM Punk at number 4.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe. If there was ever such thing as a rewrite, but obviously there isn't. So I make the rules. Rewrites. So I win. Like, you know, I'll do it. Yeah, mate,
he's just different.
We spoke about him tonight. Yeah. It's special. It really is.
A generational talent.
Yeah. And we missed out on 7 years of him.
Yep.
That's his journey, right? That was his story. That's the way it worked out.
That's it. Hopefully he's got his smile back now, though, and then we'll see what happens.
It looks that way, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. That way, mate. Yeah.
Okay, so that's us done 10-2. What we do now, anybody that hasn't listened to the Market at 10 podcast, and if you haven't listened, why the hell not? Go back and listen to our back catalogue. We now add in an honourable mention, so someone that we think meets certain criteria of the list, but can't fit in the top 10. But it's just a cheeky way of us getting an extra pick in our top 10. But also, it could be a bit left field, something that potentially you haven't thought of before. So yeah, honourable mention time, Hoxie boy. I believe it would actually be you to go first for honourable mention. So if you want to fire away first.
I will do, mate. So we had a really quick chat about this, didn't we? Really, really quick chat. This was so fucking hard. Like really hard. Like my list was tough-ish. But my honourable mention, there was quite a few names, and I've settled on one at the start of this list, and do you know what I've done? I've actually changed it.
Oh wow!
Going through this list, and this is the first time this has ever happened. This is the first time I've ever like changed something on the fly of the stuff that I wrote down on my list. My honourable mention is now going to be John Cena.
Okay.
Based on pretty much everything that you said earlier on. You didn't sell this to me, but I'd completely forgot about John Cena. And when you said his name, I was like, holy fucking shit. How have I forgot about John Cena? All the reasons that you said, basically.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very quick honorable mention for me. Just amazing. Amazing guy, selling everything. Selling matches, selling feuds, selling himself. Fugonomics, like when he became the jort wearing guy, like you mean, with all the kids selling all the merch and the t-shirts and stuff, and doing those passionate promos and doing it for the people, doing it for everybody, like blah 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 whatever. Yeah, man. Yeah, fucking, I'm all over that. It's honorable mention, John Cena.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, who was on it before you picked John Cena?
Am I allowed to say? Can I say that? Is that not two honorable mentions? Nah, fuck it. It was Bobby Heenan.
Ah, okay, Bobby. Okay, fair is. Yeah, fair enough.
And it's been knocked off there just because, like, when I started watching wrestling again, like the second time round, Cena was the guy.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time chanting for Cena and cheering for Cena and watching him and I like Cena. I respect Cena. I think he's fucking brilliant. A lot of people shit on him and they shouldn't. So it's as soon as you mentioned his name, I couldn't believe that I forgot about him. So I was like, no, I'm changing it. So sorry, Bobby. You are a great, and I love you to bits.
Yep.
And you were on there. I'm even going to I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to send you the photograph so you can see like what I've written. So you don't think I'm lying. I've put like Bobby Heenan honorable mention, and then I've like wrote John Cena underneath with like a big question mark. Like shit, like what the fuck? Like as soon as I was like, no way. So yeah, that's honorable mention, John Cena. John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we all know that we love a little swerve. We love a little chic moment.
Is this going to be a shaky moment, mate?
I don't know.
Is this going to be a shaky moment?
It's someone we've mentioned in the previous episodes. Okay. And I'm actually going for a woman here as my honourable mention.
Okay.
I'm going for Becky Lynch.
Oh. As soon as you said woman, I knew you were going to say Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Okay.
I think her mic work when she was doing, or still is doing, the man gimmick set a benchmark not only for like women's wrestling, but wrestling nowadays in general, because she was legitimately the biggest star in wrestling for...
Reinvented being a fucking badass and just telling it as it
12,
is.
18
Holy
months.
Shit.
And then she went and had her baby, came back, and her mic work is still so good. It's one of those ones. It's believable because she can back it up as well. It's sort of that thing with like Rowdy Roddy Piper. You know, it's a case of she will kick fuck out you, and you know she can say she's going to kick fuck out you, and she can back up and do it. You know, there was times where she was in the ring with, you know, like legitimate stars and like male stars of the past era, and she was hanging with them. It's like she's got the natural ability. The fact that the Irish accent helps as well. It's like, again, she puts you in the palm of her hand. Wishful thinking, but Yeah. So for me, honorable mention is Becky Lynch. I think definitely worthy of being even in the conversation of top 10 mic workers. What do you think?
I think that's such a fucking great shout. Like it's an amazing shout. The way you laid that all up, then I was just like, all the pieces were coming together in my head as you were laying it all out. It's such a great shout. Yeah,
Thanks.
mate. There's lots of people. There's a couple of people that you've said. I was just a bit like, oh my god, like Jake the Snake at your number 10
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on my on my short list. I don't think at one
Wow.
point he might have been potentially. I don't know. But then when you think about it, I'm like, holy shit, like, yeah, of course. Like, he's fucking brilliant. Like, he's absolutely incredible. Like, what the hell? It's weird, man. Like, the people who come into my head so quickly is obviously the people who I've got on there, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. And, like, um, I'm thinking about it as we're going through here as well. Like, Mick Foley?
Mick,
Fuck's sake. Like,
I was actually
we
thinking Mick Foley when you were like at number 3 or 4. I was thinking, holy shit,
yeah,
I didn't even think of Mick Foley. Like one of the best
like,
talkers.
we're going
So,
through this list and it's like popped. I was like, holy shit! Like what the fuck? Like, yeah, it's just mad. There's so many people, and I guarantee I'll wake up tomorrow and be like, I'll message you, I'll be like, dude,
fuck.
blah, 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 and be like, what the fuck? No way! Like it's yeah, it's crazy. But Becky Lynch is such a great shout. I agree, mate. I fucking agree. She was money, and when you like rubbing shoulders with like Stone Cold and fucking
Mm-hmm.
Cena and that, like being an absolute badass, like you're
And
doing
holding
something
your
right.
own. Holding
Yeah,
your own,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so good. I think she has
Sick.
set that benchmark for women, and as I say, in wrestling as well. Because if you can achieve her stardom level that she did
Mm-hmm.
legitimately get by herself, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do okay. You're going
Yeah,
to do okay.
yeah. Great shout.
Cool.
Great shout.
There we go. A wee bit of a cheeky moment, a wee bit of left field. Maybe nobody thought about wee
Dude,
Becky, but
I am so intrigued who you've got for number one. I really am. I
okay.
really, really am.
But before we reveal our number ones, ladies and gentlemen, we always go through our 10 to our honourable mention just to revisit. Do you want me to go first? I'll rattle through mine.
You crack up, mate. Yep,
My
yep.
number 10 is Jake the Snake Roberts. My number 9 is Chris Jericho. Number 8, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Number 7 is The Rock. Number 6 is John Cena. Number 5, Hot Rod Roddy Piper. Number 4, MJF. Number 3, Mr. Jim Cornette. Number 2, CM Punk. And my honourable mention goes to the one, Becky Lynch. Over to you, Hoxie.
My number 10 was Chris Jericho. My number 9 was MJF. My number 8 was Vince McMahon. My number 7 is now The Rock. My number 6 is Paul Heyman. Number 5 is Dusty Rhodes. Number 4 is now CM Punk. Number 3, Roddy Piper. Number 2, Jim Cornette. And my honourable mention was John Cena.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Okay. I think it's me, right? That is me.
Yeah, you go.
So
You go, mate. Because the fucking suspense is killing me. I can't hack it. Can't
So
handle
my
it.
number 1 is it's someone in wrestling now, been in it for years, someone that's been on the list, and it's someone whenever he gets the microphone, I stop what I'm doing and I listen to him. I listen to like wrestling. If I'm working, I have like YouTube on my second screen and stuff, and if it's one of his promos, I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll watch. It's Paul Heyman. For me, Paul Heyman is one of the best he is the best on the mic of all time. If you go through everything he's done, with who he's done it with and who he's done it for, he's just incredible. He is, I love him, man, honestly. From when he was an advocate to Brock Lesnar. I'm just talking just more recently, but if you go back to like Paulie Dangerously, etc., all that shit is so good. The ECW days when he was just, he was the perfect foil for ECW in terms of, it's like he believed his own hype. Was he an asshole backstage? Probably. It's well documented that, some of the wrestlers didn't like him, etc. But that's by the by. When he gets on that mic, you believe what he says because he's got the ability to deliver it in such a way that you can't help but believe him. He is that sort of cowboy salesman. What is it they call it? The snake oil. You know, he's got that silver tongue.
Windows and doors, mate. That's what
exactly,
I call it.
Yeah. It's like he's got that silver tongue where you believe what he says. He has that cadence. He has that, again, doesn't need to get overexcited. It's just that he has that perfect tone. It's brilliant. The advocate for Brock Lesnar, then he becomes obviously the special advisor to the wise man to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. You know, certain things he's done, like that promo that you talked about with Vince McMahon, that's been on my list as well. So I mean, it's just that entire thing. You've got to listen to that promo if you haven't done it. Just him talking about his legacy. It's my legacy. You know, you've stolen it from me. Just incredible, because you said it again. You know, real life. It's real life. You know, it sells. It's believable. Everybody knows the story of like what happened to ECW, what storylines Vince stole from Paul Heyman, etc. Blah blah blah. I just can't speak highly enough of him. It's like, and there's certain little things. It's like Suplex City. You know, it was him that came up with Suplex City, bitch. It's like just, I love him, man. Honestly, I'd like to say, it takes a lot. The way wrestling is just now in the modern day, for if you're concentrating on something, it takes a lot to sort of lift your attention away. There'll be certain people that do it, like a CM Punk will do it, an MGF will do it for me, but every single time, Paul Heyman for me. Just love him. Fucking just insane.
Great. Yeah. I can't argue with that, mate. He's on my list, so
yeah.
And he's fucking funny. I just think he's fucking brilliant. So good. So good. Love it.
What? There's also a recent one he did with who was it? Stephen A. Smith, I think it was, on First Take. I think that was recently, and it's just, I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of all time, undisputed. He actually talks about himself. He is. It's like, it's just, and you know, he believes it, and you can't fucking argue with him. He is the GOAT. It's fucking so
Let's
good.
be honest. He's going to be in that conversation, isn't he? Like in terms of like managers or whatever. For me, it's JC, Bobby Heenan, then Heyman is probably going to be in that conversation.
100%.
It's going to be between him and it's going to be between Paul and Bobby for like battling it out for two, probably.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
In terms of four, I'd probably go Jim Cornette, Bobby, Paul Heyman, and then you're probably talking like a Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
Like in terms of managers?
It's going to be close, right? It's going to be close. And and like you said, if he does interviews, he does like talks, doesn't he? That he does like shows with people, and he goes out and does like a show in front of an audience and all that sort of stuff. But he's even working then. But it's like a work shoot or a shoot like a shoot you work or whatever. It's just, he's fucking gold, mate.
It's the genius of like the booker he is, because like you say, it's the whole, he still plants seeds for stuff that's already happened. The thing like the show he did talking about Brock Lesnar breaking the streak. You know, it's like, what if Brock Lesnar wanted to go into business for himself? Who could stop Brock Lesnar? Yeah. You know, and shit's already happened. Shit's that's like years ago, and you know, people are still going, fucking, did Brock Lesnar go and like, and you know, that's just the genius of him. You know, it's so good. Yeah, so my number one is Paul Heyman for me. Over to you, Mr. Hawks. I think I know already who your number one is, but for the listeners, Mr. Hawks, who is your number one of the greatest mic worker of all time?
My number one, without a shadow of a doubt, first name on the list, Ric Flair.
Woo!
Like, it's not, I cannot fucking believe you've got him as number 8. Hey, what the fuck? The greatest talkers in the history of the business. You've got Ric Flair at number 8. It fucking boggles my mind. Boggles my little brain. My little monkey brain can't handle it. It's crazy. He had everything. He was one of the best workers ever. He's one of the best wrestlers ever.
Yep.
He looked the part. He was fucking badass. Like he could outwork everybody. He can outlast everybody. He was on the mic. Every single promo he did was fucking amazing. You look at all of his lines, like the to be the man, you got to beat the man. Like we're using the term in with everybody. Like it's become part of the vocabulary of wrestling.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you got to learn to love it. Um, talking to like about with the women, like you can't be first, but you can be next. Like I'm Ric Flair, styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. Like you speak to like normal people like every day, like that's in the sort of in the culture, especially in I mean for 100% in America, like the woo.
Yeah.
It's got fucking songs about it for fuck's sake. You have every wrestling show you go to now, the woo is there. Like is this you go to fucking like places like download festivals and like different festivals and people are wooing and whether they know what it's from or not, like it's just it's amazing. He some of the promos he did like the fire me, I'm already fired, like the thing that he did with Bischoff. Like I know he done like mad shit, like taking his clothes off and dropping stuff when he was like in WCW, but you remember it like the TNA, the stuff he done with Foley. Everyone
Yeah.
talks about like the fucking the woo off with him and Jay Lethal and stuff, but before they went mad, like you're standing in front of God right now.
Yeah.
Like, that gives me fucking goosebumps, man. Just like saying it and like for what it meant for him. Just like the promos he did back like JCP on the weekly shows, like in the studio, just coming in and like taking his fucking Rolex off or his shoes off and launching them into the fucking crowd and just the woo and I'm the world champion. Like you need to understand who I am. Just selling him, selling the belt, selling the shows. Like you don't get to be that much of a guy without being that much of a badass. And some of the promos he done in WWE, the one when he stepped down as the Raw general manager to have the last match or whatever it was, wasn't it? To have the match with like talk about like sort of compassion and sort of like it being real. Shit was real, man. He meant a lot of the stuff. The fire me, I'm already fired thing. That was a shoot. That was a shoot. There was they hated each other. They absolutely Flair and Bischoff hated each other, and that was a shoot. Like you want to start this shit with me? Like I want to say what I want. I'm already out of here. If you want to do it, let's fucking do it. You know what I mean? Just amazing promos. The guy was money. As soon as you put a mic in front of his mouth, you knew exactly what he was doing. And I know you said earlier on, like, oh, it's later stuff and this, that, and the other. When you've been around for like 50 years, 40 years or whatever at the top, like you're allowed a little bit. You're allowed a little bit of that. The guy's money, just incredible. Ric Flair. I can't believe he's number 8 for you. He has to be towards the top of any list. And for me, he was as soon as we decided on doing this, I knew he was going to be number 1. Just putting everything down on a piece of paper so I can talk about it without getting all excited and fucking rambling on, which is probably what I'm doing now. But like Flair, the woo, man. It's give him the mic, let him do his woo, and the rest is history.
Ric Flair was always on my list, like from the get-go, and he's been
Mm-hmm.
number 1, and he's been all over my list, and like I say, that he was probably the most difficult for me to place, and I think I had to go sort of on gut and how I'm feeling sort of now in the business,
Yeah.
but so yeah, that's the only reason he's number 8. Again, we say this all the time. Tomorrow, I mean later on tonight, after we stop recording, he probably could go higher up. It's one of those ones. It's so interchangeable. It's so very close, my list just now. I totally get it. I knew fine well who your number 1 was going to be right from the get-go. This is again peeking behind the curtain for the audience. We don't tell each other our lists before we do this.
No, we don't. We really don't.
Legitimately
you might
do
think
not.
we talk about it. We do not. Yeah,
we don't.
100%.
So we have no idea who's coming up in lists, etc. And that gives you like a real reaction to this. But I know Hoxie really well in terms of his wrestling preferences, and I knew full well that Ric Flair was going to be his number one. And I've got no argument saying like he should be lower down. It's just for me that it was so close and so interchangeable. It's just that's why he's so lower down on mine, unfortunately.
There you go. There's no argument about your number one. It's not like
you
haven't got Flair at number one. What the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like I just can't believe he's at number 8. But Paul Heyman for your number one, mate. As we say, we love the justification.
Well,
you justify it any way you want to, right?
It's justified. Like I think for the first time ever, we've got 22 names on a list that we don't disagree with.
Yes.
You know, I think that's for the first time. And I think, again, we like what we like, right? That's what it comes down to. And, you know,
exactly.
This was, for me, probably the easiest list in terms of getting the names on, but putting the order in, that's the most difficult I've had. That's the difficulty for me.
But I've made 2 fucking changes while we're recording the episode, which I've never done before. I've never even thought of doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. You sort of not taught me into it, but like sort of taught me to put in Cena in here. So I had to drop Bobby. Sorry, Bobby. Sorry, Bobby.
You'll feel bad after this. That's what it'll be.
I will do, mate. When it goes out and everyone's like, "You fucking got rid of Bobby."
You fucking what, mate?
Cena. I'm like, no, sorry. I'm sorry, Bobby. You'll be on a list soon, mate. Don't you fucking worry about it. Love you, I promise. But yeah, it's crazy, man. This has been fun. Like,
That'd be a good one.
It's been fun. Like I've been excited about doing it, but I haven't been as excited about this list as other ones that we've done.
Yep.
Like, like the pay-per-views one I was the most excited about. And the first one I was really excited about, but the pay-per-views one I was like, oh my god, I can't fucking wait. You know, but this one I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do this one. Like, let's get involved. But I've done it and I've really enjoyed it.
I think this one is just us talking about wrestling. You know, we didn't really need to justify a whole lot to each other because, again, I think we've got very similar tastes in wrestling. We have one or two differences, but I think this was just us.
Like Cody fucking Rhodes.
Fuck
Cody
the
guy.
He wasn't on the
wank to Randy Orton's butch body now. Go on fucking go do what you need to
do. Just as another side note, did you see the meme on Twitter with Cody and Randy hugging in the cage, and they went, "Oh, it's so nice to get a Ted DiBiase Jr." like the memory of Ted DiBiase Jr. because he's obviously in prison for the embezzlement behind the cage. It's like fucking hell. That popped me. Okay, guys. So that has been our top 10 list of mic workers in the wrestling business. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments of our YouTube channel, or you can tweet us at mark_out of10, or email us at wrestlemark10@gmail.com. If you're on Spotify, you know, give us that 5-star rating, and also share it with a friend. The more you share it, the bigger we grow, and the more lists we can come up with. I mean, that's not strictly true, but yeah, just share it with a friend. That's the best way of doing it. In terms of next episode, we're going to do something slightly different this time. Okay, so we've done 6 lists just now of a particular subject area. What we're going to venture into just now is we're going to pick a particular wrestling show. Me and Hoxie are going to watch the show, and then we're going to grade each match out of 10 in our opinions, and then we're going to grade the overall show. So it's still technically giving something a mark out of 10. And Hoxie, what wrestling show do you want to watch, and we'll grade out of 10 for the next episode?
So I think that we need to watch WrestleMania 17. We had our best pay-per-views ever episode last time out, and we both settled very quickly and very easily on WrestleMania 17 as being like top of our lists. So I think we spend a bit of time and we do a watch along of WrestleMania 17, and as we go through, we can grade the matches out of 10, do what we need to do, and then we can have a bit of a chat about it overall. But I think WrestleMania 17 X7 is definitely going to be the first watch along we do.
That's a great show. Yep, WrestleMania 17 sounds like an absolute lock. I'm happy with that. So we're going to watch a WrestleMania 17. We'll grade the matches, and guys, you can watch WrestleMania 17, and again, give us your recommendations, give us your gradings of the matches within that particular pay-per-view. We're going to do a lot of these as time goes on as well. Yeah, that's us done for our evening. Again, apologies, it's a week later than anticipated, but needs must. It is what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for listening once more. Hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Hoxie, over to you.
Cheers, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed this episode. I think Shield has as well. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening in the world. Have a great day, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.